This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the live version of the Break the Bell Podcast.
Hello, beautiful bell breakers.
Streaming every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you are listening in podcast land in the future, or if you're just showing up for the first time, that's when we are, where we are, why we are, we don't know, but someday we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're just here.
We are just here. How you doing, Bill?
I'm good today. How about you?
Doing good. The sound seems a little off balance today,
Yeah.
but maybe it's just my ears. But
It's possible.
that's all right. In a hurry tonight to get things together because of life and work and
Right.
shit. So, we don't do this as our main gig.
No,
Someday I would love
Hopefully,
to.
yes.
Someday. So, if you want us to be able to do this as our main gig someday, go like and share and subscribe and join the Patreon, buy some merch, do all that fun stuff we tell you to do, and we'll continue to tell you to do here in just a couple minutes because that's what we want. That's what we need you to do for us to do this for our main gig. Until then, we're going to keep doing it as our side gig.
Yes.
It's like our side chick.
Yes.
Until
It's sexier than our normal, but you know.
yes, obviously, and much more fun and
Yes.
more enjoyable. But
It's not reality.
it doesn't keep us grounded, I guess.
No,
I don't know.
It's true.
Anyways, this week I decided, just kind of like I was in denial about the end of summer until
Yes.
baseball season ended. I've been in
Understood.
denial about this election cycle
Yes.
for the last month and a half.
Because you know, once
6
it starts, it's not going to end.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of like the end of summer. It's like once it stops, shit just sucks for the rest of the year.
Well,
So
unless you're a football fan.
but that doesn't make it less cold and shitty. It doesn't.
No,
And
but typically people who like football are a little bit tougher and can take the winter and cold weather.
do you like the winter and the cold weather?
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you're a fucking fag.
Is that like a
Anyways,
British fag or
I haven't decided. But anyways, what I was getting at is I've been in denial about the whole election cycle. Like each week, especially during the weekend wrap up, you're like, hey, so and so is running on this platform. I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to talk about that.
I know. Yeah.
No,
I was like,
Bill.
hey, did you see what so and so saying? You're like, no, I'm not doing
no.
that.
Jack Skellington is here and he says, woo, with an exclamation
Like,
point.
woo! Is that
yeah,
more
yeah.
like Ric Flair?
Yeah, I probably. That's what I like to picture it as that. So,
Yes.
so this week we decided to cross the threshold into the midterm election
There's no
season.
turning back, man.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well get it out of the way. It's
Yeah.
what, like, how many weeks away? Like 2 or 3?
Three
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
So, I mean, we might as well get it out of our way.
It's on my birthday this year. Ain't that some shit?
Happy birthday to you.
Right?
God
You get
damn.
more shitty politicians.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this leads to. It's not
Yeah.
like we're getting better
Right.
politicians. It's like, hey, pick the best, the better, the lesser of two evils. It's like, no, we're just deciding which one we want to spend our money for us and take
Right.
our
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
So that's what we get to deal with. Jack Skellington says, hell yeah, Ric Flair, woo. I'm carrying that energy. Good.
Nice.
Good. If you could pass some of that energy along, that'd be great. So when I initially texted you this morning or last night, I was like, hey, let's talk about the Democrats' Hail Mary pass into the midterms. And then the more I started reading, I'm like, They don't even fucking have a Hail
Yeah.
Mary pass. They're
Right.
just like,
It's like the flea flicker everybody sees coming.
well, it's more like they're just like kneeling
Yeah.
the ball. It's like, we got this one. We're going to kneel. It's like, you guys are
Mm.
down 6 points. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Right,
What do you
yeah.
mean you got this
Yeah.
one? Why are you kneeling? You're like on the freaking 20
Yeah.
yard. You're
It's like,
there
it's okay, guys. We got Biden as quarterback. We got this.
yeah. So we're going to kneel.
Yeah.
It's like, what was your strategy there? And you've seen that stupid shit in football. Even
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just like, why did you
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to kneel the ball at that? Like
I-
when
it's
they
like-
think that they got another time for another
Yeah.
down, and they're like, we're just gonna.
It's like the coach for the Broncos, right? Where he decides that they're going to win it with a 64-yard field goal. So they
Holy
start kneeling
shit.
it to wind down the clock so that they can kick it. And of course, the guy misses by a long shot.
Why would they rely on 64 yards? It's like, I don't know, maybe like get it down to 54 yards
Right?
or
Something that people actually have made in the past.
50, 40.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe one attempt to, but yeah, that's exactly what this seems
Yeah.
like. It's like the whole election cycle, and we'll get into this more. The whole election cycle has been, the Democrats are like, nah, there's no problem, Jack. And then the Republicans are like, they're the problem, vote for us. And none of them have
Yeah.
like an actual platform really to
Yeah.
stand on.
Yeah.
Except for maybe the border is
Yeah.
all the Republicans have to go on.
Yeah.
Is the border, because I mean, even that's just pointing fingers though, because I mean, it's not like the borders was that much better under Republican
Right.
rule. I mean,
Yeah, it was
a little better.
just a smidge better. I've seen a lot of Democrat sycophants posting that about how inflation is just corporate greed. And so it's like, don't let that influence your decision come November. It's corporate greed.
So my empty your pocketbook is just corporate greed.
Yes.
And my fueling up my work van costing $120 versus the $80 it costed 2 years ago. That's just corporate
That's
greed.
just corporate greed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. So what's the solution then to this corporate greed? Because
Yeah.
it's not going away, and
It's-
it's really
yeah.
hurting my non-corporate ass.
Boycott the corporations, right?
Well,
Don't-
yeah, boycott the corporations so that way they make less money, so they got to
Yeah.
charge more.
Right. Yes.
Perfect.
Well,
Great
you know,
idea.
Biden was never an economic genius.
None of them. Well, I mean,
No.
they do have AOC, who
Oh,
was
that's
an,
true.
She
She
was
is-
an economics
Yes.
major, so
Yeah,
we got
she's
that.
like the Rain Man of
yeah. So
Congress.
so we should be good.
Yeah.
We should be all right. So we got inflation. We've got the economy. Obviously,
Mhm.
those go hand in hand. We got the border. We got abortion. We've
Yes.
got gas prices, which again,
Yeah.
economy.
Second Amendment, is there stuff going on with that?
I haven't seen. That's just
surprising.
kind of been back burner.
Yeah.
Like haven't seen any
Okay.
real major talk about the Second Amendment, even though there was like a shooting today.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in North Carolina or something.
I
but
saw that. Yes.
I'm sure it'll be their October surprise. Like
yeah,
some
that's
mass
probably what
shooting.
they're hoping for. Is like, man, we really hope we get a mass shooter before November 8th.
That would be great. Can we just
Yeah.
I mean, just
Can we
like
just kick up
30,
some MK Ultra a little bit and
40
try to
people
get somebody
dead.
to
Yeah. Do we got any sleeper agents
Yeah.
out there that own ARs and AKs? That'd be fantastic right about now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's usually when mass shootings happen, is right before elections too. So we got all that shit to talk about. We're gonna kind of jump all over the place and just see what's going on. We're not political majors, we're not economic majors, so it's just gonna be us just running our mouths from a voter's level. Like,
Yes.
what do we think the state of current affairs looks like when it comes to this upcoming election? So if you think we sound like we don't know what we're talking about, it's because we absolutely do not. So don't take what we say worth anything. We are just bitching about.
Yes. We're like the guy at the end of the bar.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly what we're just.
That's what
yeah,
this
just
is.
running our mouths, hoping somebody listens. So speaking of running your mouths, we can't forget to mention our coffee sponsor, the sponsor of the show, the official coffee of the Break the Bell podcast, which is Run Your Mouth Coffee. They fully support your right to sit at the end of the bar and run your mouth about the politics that are going on, or lack thereof politics that are going on. They support your right to free speech and to be able to say whatever the hell you want to say without fear of being canceled, without fear of being ostracized from humanity as you know it. They also make a damn good cup of coffee. Go to rymcoffee.com and tell them we sent you by using the promo code BreakTheBell, and you'll get 10% off your purchase plus free shipping, and you'll get fresh roasted coffee delivered straight to your door, roasted by people that support free speech, which it doesn't get much better than that. Free speech, coffee, hand in hand. America is more American than any politician will ever offer you. You ever hear a politician offer you good coffee?
No.
You don't even hear too many of them offer free speech anymore. So, they've got at least two legs up on all the politicians. So rymcoffee.com. It's delicious, and you should support companies that support your rights and support the things that you stand for, like Run Your Mouth Coffee. Make sure you check us out all over social media. Check out our merch store at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. You'll get opportunities to buy awesome shirts like the I Won't Eat Your Bugs shirt, which, speaking of, I saw a post that some like school somewhere was serving mealworms. I don't know how real this is, but I saw a post today. So it's coming, guys. It's coming.
And they're concerned about school shooters.
Yeah,
but they're going to serve them mealworms.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pretty irate if I got mealworms. I also saw the local grocery store here posted on a Facebook post of like edible crickets. The Hy-Vee, Marion Hy-Vee on their Facebook page had like edible crickets or something, chocolate covered crickets or something. So it is real, guys. The push for you to eat bugs is real. So make sure you join the anti-cricket brigade and buy the shirt I Won't Eat Your Bugs. Or you also have the We Are Not Your Pawn shirt, some merch or some logo merch, some t-shirts, some mugs and shit. We also have the Is This Shirt Even Real shirt, which in order for you to find out if it's real, you have to order it and find out for yourself. And that's in response to our Dead Internet Theory episode that we did like a month ago. Check out that episode. It was a fun one.
It was a good one.
Otherwise, that's breakthebell.bigcartel.com.
Just in time for Christmas.
Yeah, order some shit for your friends and family. So maybe they, especially the ones that don't buy into all the shit that we throw out there. If you have some like commie friends out there or family members, buy them some of our merch and give it to them just so they ask the question, what the hell is this? And you can tell them.
Yes.
Check us out all over social media. Like I said, you can find us on all the big ones at Break the Bell Pod is our handle. So check it out, share it far and wide, and get our name out there so we can keep doing bigger and better things and spreading the good Lord's word, or the good word of the Lord, or just
either word.
Just the word. Just spread the word.
Sure.
I think that's about it. Jack Skellington says, Dead Internet is good, but have you got to concave inverse Earth yet? Is that, I'm guessing that's similar to the flat Earth, but better. It's like flat Earth on steroids. I will have to check into that. I have seen bits and pieces here and there. I will have to check it out. Let's get into the show.
Let's do it.
When we come back, we are going to just rant about the midterm elections in our non-knowledgeable way, the best we can.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby.
What did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me? Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
And we're back. Bill, are you done playing our show on the side over there?
Yes. Well,
Right,
I was sharing it.
Oh, you're sharing.
Yes,
Okay.
and so
I was just like, what? Why is there echo? And then I look over and I see, no, it's just Bill playing it on his phone. So midterm elections are here.
Yes, and it's a big one, right?
It's the most important
ever.
of any election ever
Yes.
up till this point,
Yes.
which is all of the elections.
Absolutely.
Have you seen that yet?
No.
I have.
Okay.
There are articles. Can you pull that mic down just a hair? Yeah, I when I was looking this up, I saw several op-eds that are like, "This is the most important election of my lifetime." It's just like,
Wow. I thought the last one was the most
well, it
important.
was, but this one's more important than that one,
Wow.
making it the most important.
Okay.
So, how do we get these standards? Is it just the polarization that is it that bad that it's just like, oh my God, this could be the one. This is the big one. This is the
well, you
the
would
one
think
to
that,
end all of them.
You would think that they polarized so much before this. You would think that everybody's like been like, oh, okay, this again. But no, people buy into it, right? So they're like, women will never be. They will be sold into slavery if they don't vote for Democrats this fall.
Well,
And you are like, oh my gosh.
But is it as bad as the 2016 where they're all wearing pussy hats and they're like, oh my gosh, women's rights are out the window? Is it that bad? Because
right.
Because they were saying screaming it was that bad back then. And like you said, at what point do people stop and realize that none of it matters?
Yeah.
Nothing has really affected our lives that much.
They're not going to totally take away women's rights,
reproductive
throw
rights.
them in the kitchen again, right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to take away guns.
Maybe they are going to throw women in the kitchen.
That could be.
I mean, maybe
that's the whole plan this whole time.
Yeah,
right.
The whole plan was just to throw women back in the kitchen.
Yes,
make women cook again.
Speaking
as
a husband whose wife just called me and asked how to take the meatloaf out of the oven,
maybe
I don't want that.
Maybe more women need to get back in the kitchen so they learn how to take the meatloaf out of the oven again and not call you at the beginning of a podcast.
Right.
I don't know, but that's going to be my new campaign slogan: "Make women cook again." I mean,
I like it.
The downfall of humanity came when women stopped cooking.
You're not
and left
wrong.
the kitchen.
Yes.
We're going to be flagged for misogyny and terrorism.
Yes.
I don't know. Anyways, there's so much shit going on right now that should make this a really important election.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that nobody is actually doing anything to fix it means it's going to be a big nothing of an election.
And all it is vote for us because we're not them.
Yeah, and that's what that's the problem is the Democrats, that's what they ran on in 2020 was we're not Trump. At least we're not Trump. Vote for us. And everybody's like, oh my God, we got to vote for him. He's not Trump. So now that it's 2022, 2 years later, they're still writing that one out. They just finished up the whole series of the January 6th hearings. You remember they were doing like an 8-part series?
Right. Oh, yes. It was going to change. It was going to be bigger than Top Gun 2.
And how much of that have you heard about going into the midterms either? I mean, you see the posts from the Democrats and stuff, but how many people do you actually hear that is a talking point going into, well, we got to vote for Democrats because of January 6th.
Right. Or the Mar-a-Lago siege, right?
I mean, it's out there. It's being talked about, but you don't hear actual people talking about it. The things you hear people talking about is things really are expensive these days. And I don't know, for some reason, when people have lose spending power, it really kind of irritates them a little bit.
Yeah.
Jack Skellington says, if I was a politician, my slogan would be put women back in the kitchen with guns. I like that. That's so much better. Thank you for fixing that.
How many men would be left?
Vote me. I am not him. Vote for I because him is not me. Yes, exactly. So, that just seems to be it's just like there's so many things.
Yeah.
And the top talking points of people, the top concern is inflation and economics, which
nobody
again are
talking
hand in hand.
about, right?
I mean, the Republicans they're just saying, well, the Democrats.
I saw Bernie
economic
Sanders
policy.
talking, and he came out and said the Fed is screwing everything up.
Really?
Yeah.
What was his reasoning? Because they were, I remember seeing that he didn't want them to
raise the interest rates.
The interest rates.
Right,
yes.
right.
On that note, though, that is just Bernie Sanders calling for more government regulation of the
Absolutely.
markets, which
Yes.
is what gets us in these problems in the first place. So
Yes.
Bernie Sanders isn't asking for solutions; he's asking to make it worse.
Yeah.
Let's artificially keep interest rates
Right.
at
Let's keep
zero,
printing money.
so we can just.
Yeah.
I mean that's how the housing bubble happened to begin with, was because of artificial freaking regulating or lack of regulating of the housing market. So
Right.
let's just keep artificially keeping it where it's at, because what could possibly go wrong if we
Right.
just keep throwing dollars at it
Yeah,
and hope
right.
it sticks?
I mean, with Bernie here, he's got his big house.
Yeah, he.
Right.
I mean, you're not supposed to talk about that though. Bernie's
Oh,
an
he's a
every
man of
man's
the
man.
people,
Yeah, he's an
right?
every man's
Yeah.
man. We can't talk about that. My first question going into the midterms is, how many times, regardless of what party you're in, because it's always the same case, like a Republican takes office and then they promise all this shit, and then the midterms come around and they're like, well, if you vote for us, we're going to keep the promises that we promised 2 years ago.
Right.
And
yeah.
then a couple years later, Democrat gets in office, makes all these promises, and then 2 years later in the midterms, like, vote for me if you want to keep, if you want any of these promises fulfilled. It's like, how many times can you stand on the promises that you made 2 years ago and expect people to be like, we're going to see this through,
Right,
even
yeah.
though you've done literally jack shit
Right.
towards your promises. We're going to see this through.
My favorite was Hillary's, when she had this awesome plan, but you can only see it if you vote for her.
Yeah, that's like basically, I don't know. You've probably seen when people go to get hired and they're like, yeah, I got all these business ideas for your company, but you have to hire me first.
Right.
And it's like, well, give us some of them so we know if you're
Yeah, right.
like hireable or not. It's like, well, no, you got to hire me first. I'm not going to give away my ideas. Why would I do that? It's just like, so we're standing on nothing. We're like, your credibility is nothing because you haven't proven anything yet.
Right.
Yet we're supposed to vote for you based on your plan that you're not even revealing to us.
Right. Yeah.
That was Donald Trump too.
Yeah.
I think it was 2016 when he's like, I got a plan. It's a good plan, and you got to vote for me to hear the plan.
Yeah.
And all the greatest people told me it was the best. It was an exquisite plan.
I talked to all the top financial people, and they all said it was the best plan they've ever heard.
But he never once, like during the election cycle,
even be like, well,
mentioned
can
his
you
plan.
give some names?
Like, no, I don't want you to steal my ideas because they're the biggest ideas. It's like, why do people buy this shit?
Yeah.
Like, what made me decide to? I'm already fed up with this, and I haven't even like dug into it yet. But what made me decide today I'm going to do this is because I was at my in-laws yesterday helping them out with a project, and I hadn't even like put any stock or any thought into this. And my mother-in-law was like, are you ready to get out and vote? And I was like, I literally was like, vote for what?
Yeah, right.
And she's like, the midterm election. So I was like, oh yeah, that thing.
It's 3 weeks. We got so much happening before that.
Yeah. Like it wasn't even like on my, that's how off my radar I was. I literally I was just like, what are we voting for? And and at first I was thinking like, for some reason, like local voting, which should be more important anyway.
Absolutely, because that's where things might actually change.
Yes. But yeah, I was just like, vote for like what are we voting for? And she's like, the midterm elections, you got to get out and vote. It's like, oh yeah, that thing that's supposed to make a difference in our lives. Yes, I forgot about that. I apologize for forgetting about that. And like, she knows I do a podcast that I guess we could say we have like political opinions on. I think people that don't listen much think we're a political podcast.
Right.
I don't know if I don't define myself as a political podcast.
Right.
But I'm always with certain parts of my family, they always like come to me with like political discussion. It's like, did you hear about this? It's like, no, you realize I talk about this for like upwards of like 6 hours a week. And the last thing I want to do is
talk about
it some more.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's like, I don't know, go listen to my show and hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
The odds are you probably aren't going to like what I have to say,
yeah.
because you're either a hardcore Republican or a hardcore Democrat. And I have shit to say about both of you. So I'm just going to keep the family meals happy and just stay out of this one. So
like, well, Craig, we got uninvited to Thanksgiving. Thanks.
They asked. I tried to avoid the conversation, and they asked. They kept prying. Anyways, back to promises, empty promises.
Yes.
I have in front of me, which is what I want to start with, is Biden's promise tracker. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, me neither.
PolitiFact has a
Do
promise
they have
tracker.
this for every president?
I don't know. I
They
don't know.
must.
I feel like maybe they're doing it just to kind of throw Biden a bone or something.
Okay.
Not what
It
you're
seems like
thinking.
a-
Not that kind of
Right,
bone.
okay,
Bill.
okay.
No, but it seems like it's just like everybody's like, well, what has he done? And they're like, well, we're gonna do a promise tracker, and we're gonna show them that Biden keeps his promise. Biden's a man of his word.
Sure.
And so this is the PolitiFact Biden Promise Tracker. It says the Biden Promise Tracker monitors the 100 most important campaign promises, and we are going to go through all 100 of those.
So buckle up.
Like who actually has the time to
Yeah.
go through 100 important campaign? What candidate is making 100 fucking promises in the first place?
Well, no. Remember, I think Trump, didn't he do the 100 days?
Well, everybody does 100.
Oh,
100 promises, 100 days.
Yes, exactly.
It sounds like a really bad movie. Biden said his top priorities were fighting the coronavirus, improving the economy, responding to calls for racial justice, and combating climate change. Okay, so first of all, those right there,
Yes.
besides improving the economy, are so like subjective.
Yes.
Like, how do you measure fighting coronavirus?
Well, you don't see anybody here with it, do
On
you?
well, I guess
Boom, check.
we'll just stop. If we just stop testing people so much, we won't have so many.
Right, yeah.
Who said that?
That
Donald
was
Trump, and
yeah,
they told him
right.
he was a fucking
Yeah,
idiot.
right.
What did
Oh,
Biden
okay,
do?
Trump, yeah.
Biden stopped testing
Yeah.
people as often.
And it's gone down. And
Yeah.
he had his State of the Union. He's like, we beat Corona. Woo!
It's over, guys. We beat it. And then everybody's like, you shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So, or racial justice, like responding to calls for racial justice.
Well, you haven't seen BLM on the street, have you?
I mean, that's true.
Boom.
Well, how
win.
do you measure that? Like,
Exactly.
it's not even saying like increasing racial justice. It's just responding to calls.
Yeah.
So what is that? Just like,
You haven't
I hear
seen
you. I
like,
hear you.
You haven't seen a police officer shoot a black man recently, have you?
Yeah, probably. Just not on the news.
Right.
But again, responding to calls. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like he did anything. It's just like, I hear what you're saying.
Yes. And
Responded.
we're going to
Check.
yeah.
Check that box
Wow,
off.
this
We're
president
good.
thing's easy.
Combating climate change.
Yeah.
How do you measure that?
Yeah. Well,
Specifically from a
people
president.
are using less gas now, right?
Yeah, because it's more expensive. I guess if you increase gas prices, people drive less. And
Exactly.
there you go. There you go. Whether they want to or not, they are driving much less. Jack Skellington says, racial justice equals media tone down their bullshit for a minute.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's all this is. He also says racial justice. So we're going to repeal the Equal Opportunity Act. Now let's not get racist now. Now you're going to get us kicked off for being racist. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Like that's not, we're going to stay away from that because that's going to be an hour conversation.
Yeah.
And we got some things to talk about. Anyways, let's get into this promise tracker. Says, it says the promise. So this is broken down to promise kept, promise broken, compromise, stalled, in the works, or not yet rated. We rate the promise not on the president's intentions or effort, but on verifiable outcomes. Now remember that we rate it on not his intentions as we look at these promises. So here's the overall score. Promises kept, supposedly 22%.
Okay.
Compromises 6%. Promises broken, a big fat supposedly 1%.
Wow, that is impressive.
That is impressive. Stalled 28%. So 22% have kept and 28% were stalled and 33% are in the works.
Wow.
So here's some of the promises. Top 5 right here.
Okay.
Get COVID under control. Their score, promise kept.
Oh, wow.
Because, I mean, he said it. He
Yeah,
said, I
true.
beat
He
COVID.
did.
So
Yes.
if he says it, then it's true.
Yes.
He beat COVID. So
Wow.
promise kept. Right
Good
when he
job,
said
Joe.
that, right when he said COVID is over, they're like, check,
Yep.
kept his promise. He beat COVID.
Good job, Joe.
So the quote says, I'm never going to raise the white flag and surrender. We're going to beat this virus. We're going to get it under control. I promise you. So it doesn't say how
Right.
he beat it.
Yeah.
So here's the next one. Get bipartisan cooperation on the economy. Have you seen that?
No.
Here's the bipartisan. Here's their score. Compromise. How do you compromise on cooperation?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll help you.
It's like,
Check.
well, that side said that they're going to do their thing, and that side said they're going to do their thing. So overall, it's a compromise on cooperation. They both agreed to not do what the other one's doing. So it's a compromise. In other words, it's a fucking fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, folks, we're going to bring the Republicans and Democrats together. No, I mean it. And deliver economic relief for working families and schools. I promise you.
Okay, so how did he accomplish that?
I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't say how he did.
Okay.
At the top here. Maybe it says on down. Yeah, here's they have little subscripts of what he did. So here's the get COVID under control. Is COVID-19 under control in the U.S.? Experts say yes. There you go. There you go. Rejoin the Iran nuclear deal is yellow, which means if we scroll to the top means stalled, not failed, stalled.
But it's Iran's own fault.
Iran protests further scuttle the nuclear deal. So it's stalled. You could call that stalled, I guess. That legitimately is stalled.
Yes.
It's not.
But again, part of that is because they're building drones for Russia, right? And so
we can't.
That's a big check mark against Iran.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's
it's
not necessarily his fault.
That's not his fault. So that one's pretty legit. Yeah. Decriminalize marijuana. Biden announced a pardon for federal simple marijuana possession.
We
so
talked about that.
That one is either stalled or in the works. I'm not sure which one they're.
I'm calling that a big fat bullshit.
A big bullshit fail.
Yeah, we talked about that.
That one's just a band-aid to cover up, to say that he's doing something. A lot of these are just him saying he's doing something.
Right.
Forgive student loan debt from public college and universities. I don't know what this is.
Sued for
this
that
must
one.
be. This is a compromise. I think the rainbow one's compromised.
I'm gonna say that's a big bullshit.
Biden ordered the $10,000 to $20,000 in student loan debt forgiveness. So there was another similar scorekeeper that I read, and they said he passed this one because he did pass this. Like it's a done deal, and it's like I haven't seen that it's a done deal yet. So no.
And again, he's being sued by a company because of this,
right?
So
and he hasn't forgiven the debt. He's forgiven a small fraction of it. Double the value of Pell Grants. That one is supposedly a compromise. It says Biden signed Pell Grant increases into law, but the amount falls short of the campaign goal. So he did something, I guess.
Okay. But it fell short.
Provide Section 8 vouchers to low-income families to cap housing costs to 30% of their income. This one supposedly is stalled. Now, by stalled, what they mean by stalled, it says Biden has made only scant progress in expanding Section 8 housing vouchers. So that sounds like a fail to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a fail.
Because he didn't get it to the 30% cap. And that's specifically what this promise was. And he didn't do that. So anything else I would say is a fail.
Absolutely.
Put the U.S. on course to net zero emission by 2050. Passed.
What?
Passed that one. It's
Did he
green.
really?
It's in green, it says. Historic climate investments put the U.S. on track towards net zero emissions. Let's see. Increase access to affordable housing. The Inflation Reduction Act has little in the way of affordable housing. So, again.
Has he seen the housing out there?
Right. Repeal the law barring Medicare from negotiating lower drug prices. Now, he did do that. I did see that.
Okay.
Let's see. I want to get to some good ones. Offer up to $8,000 tax credit for childcare. Now, this one says it's stalled, but their explanation is the proposal for childcare was left out of the final version of the bill.
Nobody would vote for it.
Is that stalled or is that failed
That's
at this
failed.
point?
That's failed.
So you see how
unless he's going to try to slip it into the next one, but as of now, it's a big fat zero.
Again, what did we say up here? We rate the promise not on his intentions or effort, but on verifiable outcomes.
So the category of stalled should be a big fat goose egg.
Big fat fail based on.
Oh, hey,
hello. Free girls are in our city, apparently.
Get them over here.
Lots of them, according to Get Off Our Freaking Feed. PAS36.fun. Don't go to that if you're listening. We do not support
No, not
free
at all.
girls in your city.
It's in U City.
In you city. So again, based on their definition, this would be a fail. Establish an offshore tax penalty. No tax penalty targeting foreign operations was included in any final bill. Again, they're putting that as stalled.
Yeah, that's a big fat goose.
That's fail. Offer universal preschool to 3 and 4-year-olds. Have you seen any progress on this?
No, that's a goose egg.
Well, they're saying it's stalled because it didn't make the final cut.
Because nobody will vote
That's
for
a
it.
fail.
Yes.
Guarantee 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave. You seen that one?
Goose egg.
Yeah, it didn't make the bill, but that's stalled.
No, that's a fail.
Now, what's their definition of failed? Block new fracking on federal lands, but not ban all fracking. Joe Biden breaks his promise to ban fracking. So that one they're saying is
okay.
failed.
Okay.
Couldn't they just say it didn't make the final cut of the bill?
Stalled.
Yeah,
right?
stalled. What I don't know. Work to codify Roe v. Wade. Stalled. Even though it says Senate Democrats fail to
Yeah,
codify.
I was
They have the
gonna say.
word fail right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they put it as stalled.
Yeah, that's a big fat. Well, because they can't say it's a fail, because then what's the point in voting Democrats in office, right?
Well, yeah. That's what I'm
so
saying.
they have to say, well, it's stalled until you guys vote for
You
Democrats.
see how they're kind of
Yeah.
shifting the numbers here to look like there's only like 1% fail, but like 30% stalled,
yeah.
even though
let's
most
say
of those
35% fail.
Yeah, most of those have the actual word fail in the description.
Yeah.
What about nominate the first black woman to the U.S. Supreme Court? We can mark that one as a win, guys. We did it. It doesn't matter that the job markets suck. It doesn't matter that inflation is through the roof and the gas prices are through the roof and your pocketbook is empty.
Yeah.
At least they nominated the first black woman to the Supreme Court.
Did she get elected in or voted in? Did
Did
they confirm her?
Yeah,
or did
it
she just
says
get nominated?
this says the Senate confirmed her.
Okay, I
But
guess I
he
missed
only
that.
promised to nominate. He
That's
didn't
true,
promise to
yeah.
confirm. So he
How
could
would you consider that a fail?
no, because he didn't
He did
promise to get her
nominate
in.
Right. Okay.
Expand broadband or wireless broadband via 5G to every American. Have you seen that?
No, I think that's well,
Well, it says
that was in the
signing the
infrastructure.
bipart. Yeah,
Yeah.
they signed it, so it's
yeah,
a
that's
a
coming.
step towards. Yeah.
that's coming.
Use evidence to determine COVID-19 openings and closings. I don't even know what that
What
means.
does that mean?
CDC, like schools and shit.
Oh.
CDC issued guidance throughout Biden's first year on school openings, but did it matter? Work with allies to develop secure private sector-led 5G networks. That's a pass, apparently.
Okay.
Let's see. End for-profit detention centers. That one stalled.
Yeah.
Even though it
that
says
won't pass.
little change under Biden in use of private facilities to detain migrants.
There's too much money.
There's
there.
no change. There's
Yeah.
no change at all. Double the number of immigration judges and staff. That stalled. Biden has increased but hasn't doubled.
Well, he doesn't need to because he just lets them all in anyways.
Eliminate cash bail. Biden has barely mentioned cash bail, so that one's supposedly stalled. So how is it that fracking is failed for him not doing it, but this one that he hasn't even talked about isn't failed? So I'm
Is
not
that considered like stalled?
It's yellow for
Okay.
stalled.
All right.
So what do you
Yeah, they're being generous.
Yeah.
It's like when your kid can't color in the lines, but you tell them they're going to be the next
president of the
Hunter
United
Biden.
States?
Yeah, right.
Yes, exactly. So what do you think of this rating scale here? Do you think
I think
based
it's
on their
bullshit.
standard of we're not rating this based on his intentions, but on verifiable outcomes?
Yeah.
Again, how do you measure how do you measure winning COVID? How
Well-
do you measure some of these stalled ones? Like it's got to be verifiable and measurable.
Exactly.
When
Then
it
you
hasn't
shouldn't even-
happened,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's a pass or fail in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Exactly. It's a fail.
Unless there is a bill on the table that's
Right.
just waiting to be
Yeah.
signed and like Republicans are holding up.
Right.
When it didn't make the cut
Yeah.
is by their
Right.
verbiage.
Yeah.
When somebody doesn't make the cut on the team,
Yeah.
is that you're stalled or is that you failed to
No,
make the
you're
team?
you're not on the fucking team.
You failed to make the team. Exactly.
It's like, oh well, you almost got there, guy. So maybe next year you just stalled out a little bit.
Yeah, so I would say if you put, I'd say take. So we got in the works 33%. We didn't get to a lot of in the works, so I didn't even see how there's 33%. So let's take this 28%. Let's take 20% of that 28%, put it over in the promise broken. So we're already up to 21%.
Yeah.
I would say probably take 30% of the in the works and put them over there. So we're probably over 50% when it comes to
unless it is passed and in the works. I would say you can't say based on the outcome. You can't say that he kept that promise.
Now, if you went to the average American, let's just say we took a poll today and walked down the road indiscriminately and was like, has Biden kept the majority of his promises? What do you think? Do you think they would agree with that? Maybe are they that brainwashed that maybe they do agree with it? A lot of them.
Yeah, I think so.
I think a lot. I think you're going to get more than 1% that say no, though.
No, absolutely. Well, and it depends on where too. Like here in Iowa, I would say that you'd probably get more than 50% say no, he did not keep his promises.
Now, if you took this list here, door to door, and asked each person, does this matter to you at this point? Is this influencing your vote at this point?
Right.
Do you think many of them really give a shit about a lot of these things?
No.
Or at least to the point where it's going to get them off their ass to vote? Because most of them probably know that, yeah, it sounds good for him to promise free childcare and K through what?
And again, it depends on the neighborhood. Like here, your neighborhood here, I think most people would be like, no, this doesn't really matter to me.
Well, I'm just saying, like, even if it matters to people, I think a lot of people are realizing that it's not like they're going to actually fucking do that.
Well, and that's not, again, right now, like you said, the biggest thing that people are concerned about is $4 carton of eggs, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, that's what I was going to.
Yeah.
It's like, then you ask them, so what does matter to you?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, well, it really fucking sucks right now because things are really expensive.
$8 a pound of bacon.
Yeah, most people can't get to these issues because they can't see them with all the freaking financial issues in their face right now.
Yeah. Be like, I know it really sucks grocery shopping that your bill's gone up like $20 a week, but how much does it matter to you to get that free preschool for 3 to 4 year olds?
You know what would help you in this financial crisis? You're knocking shit over.
I know.
What would help you in this financial crisis is if we gave free childcare and free preschool. It's like, I'm 80 years old. My kids graduated like 20 years ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like the Inflation Reduction Act. It's like by the year 2030, we can have this under control.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing about it now?
Yeah.
Like what is your short-term plan? Because that's a lot of trillions being thrown at a long-term goal.
Yeah.
That I don't know if we're going to make it to because the short term looks pretty grim.
And like you said, and I haven't listened to anybody really say like what plans are, what their platform is other than like Ashley Hinson is too liberal for Iowa, right? I mean,
that's the platform you're standing on?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's like, do you want another liberal?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't vote for Ashley Hinson.
Do you want a Trump yes person in the office? I mean, it's like, I don't know. Can they lower costs?
Yeah. Who's here to like, lower the gas prices?
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the I want for.
Yeah. Who's here to stop spending trillions of dollars instead of arguing over which trillions of dollars?
Who's going to stop sending millions over to Ukraine?
None of them.
Exactly.
None of them are going to. Why is this not pausing? Good God. Anyways, should the Democrats be worried about their current situation based on all these kept promises? You think that they don't have much to worry about, right?
Well, no. I think they're grossly out of touch with what people need.
So here, this is Newsweek. Is Newsweek more predominantly left or right?
Left.
I thought so. There's Newsweek and Newsmax. I always get the two.
Oh yeah, Newsmax is right.
Newsmax is far right.
Yes.
Like racist far right.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but anyways, good God, I lost my train of thought. Newsweek is saying throw all that shit out the window. This is what Democrats should worry about in the midterms. The only poll that shows that Democrats should really worry. This from Newsweek. First of all, I got to point out, would you like that to be your picture on the cover of Newsweek?
That's very flattering.
Your ass in the voting booth. All right, so this starts out. Democrats may have reason to worry about the upcoming midterm elections, according to a new poll that shows Republicans leading on 2 key issues heading into November. First of all, how out of touch do you have to be for a new poll as of October 12th to point this out to you?
Right.
Like, for you to not realize that this is a main concern amongst voters until, what, like 5 days ago, 4 weeks going into the election, to be like a lefty news source, be like, oh, I guess they care about this thing. We didn't know until this poll came out.
Right.
It's like you're not listening. You're not listening
No.
to your constituents.
As they tend not to.
It says a poll from the Washington Post / ABC News found that the 2 top issues among registered voters are the economy and inflation.
Yeah.
Which, again, those go hand in hand.
Right.
Clear majorities trust Republicans more than Democrats on those issues. That's interesting.
That's because they're the ones that aren't currently in office.
Well, and again, it's easy to look back to like 2019 and see where the economy was at.
Yeah. Lower gas prices, lower
even
taxes.
though the Democrats will point at 2020, we'll just throw the economy in 2020 out the window because it was thrown out for us.
Right.
That was a fluke. That wasn't
right.
I mean, yes, it was political policies, but if it wasn't, if we take 2020 out the window, the first 3 years, I'd say, under Donald Trump were economically better than they are now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did a shitty job in 2020, but he was bouncing back by the end of it.
Yeah. When people were able to go back to work, things were starting to normal out again.
Yeah. It says the survey found that 85% of registered voters said the economy was either very important or one of the most important issues.
And that's a shock to Newsweek.
85%. Why is that not 100%?
Right? Who's the 50%
rich people?
Or or the kids that still live with their parents.
Yeah.
Right?
People that
they're like, well, abortion.
Every working American, if they can't afford to feed their kids, none of the rest of this shit matters at all. Nothing matters if you can't afford to feed yourself and your family.
Yeah.
So if it comes to it comes down to abortion rights, it comes down to the green climate change issues.
Right.
None of that matters if you can't afford to live.
Yeah.
The rest of it is on the back burner.
Yes.
So yes, this should be 100%.
When people worry about like abortion or social issues, it's when the economy is doing well, right? It's when they have the luxury to worry about other stuff.
And that's a really good point. The fact that the Democrats are so hell-bent on focusing on the social issues, but they're coming to find that people don't give 2 shits about that.
Yeah.
That should be a sign that the economy's not doing that good.
Right.
Regardless of what Joe Biden gets up with his ice cream cone and says,
right.
The fact that people are less concerned about social issues and more concerned about economic issues should tell you that the economy's not doing so good.
Yeah. And that's the problem when you have people that are in the office running the economy that don't know how much a gallon of milk is.
But Joe Biden's an everyman's man from Scranton.
Right? Well, he hasn't bought a gallon of milk since the 70s.
It's true, but he's an everyman's man from Scranton.
Of course.
So we got to take his word for it. Says the poll was conducted from September 18th to the 21st and surveyed 908 registered voters with margin of error of plus or minus 4%. Says among those registered voters, 54% said they trusted Republicans to do a better job on the economy. That is impressive to me.
That is impressive.
I mean, again, things are bad when anybody that's not, because I'd have to say 54% of Americans aren't Republican voters.
Right.
But for them to admit that, they probably do a better job.
But
in the age of Republicans, racist, Trump bad.
You're right.
For somebody to be like, they probably be doing a better job.
When you look at states governments, though, I would say probably 80% of states are ran by Republicans.
Yeah, probably. Says 37% said they trust Democrats more. 4% said neither, and 2% said both. How can both do better?
That's the person that was high.
Yes.
Like both, man.
It's like whatever, just both.
Yeah, they both do
I
great.
understand the neither.
Yes.
But both makes no sense to me.
It doesn't.
Said it was similar picture when it came to parties handling inflation, with 54% of registered voters saying they trusted the GOP more on the issue. Just 36% said they trusted Democrats more on inflation, while 6% said neither and 1% said both.
Interesting. See, okay, so in this, I do trust the Republicans a little bit better with the economy, just because they tend to open up the domestic oil drilling a little bit more, right? Lowers the gas oil prices because there's more supply, and they tend to lower taxes. They do tax cuts typically, right?
To the big corporations, which
Whatever, but we end
Well,
up getting them as well.
regardless of what you think about Bush's trickle down economics, I mean,
Yeah,
there is a little bit to that.
a little bit, yes.
Yes, it is satisfying for him. It's self-serving for a politician to pay bank to the corporations, but it does help a little bit on our end.
But on inflation, I would say they both suck because both of them
are about spending a ton of money.
Right, printing money and just giving it out.
There's nothing conservative about the Conservative Party anymore.
No,
nothing.
Hell no. Oh,
I mean, maybe morally conservative in a way.
Yeah.
Well,
but again,
slightly,
do you think they really believe that shit?
No,
Or they're just doing it for votes.
They just run on the platform.
they
They
don't
don't
care.
give a shit. It goes on to say midterm elections, and for that matter, presidential elections too, typically hinge on the state of the economy. So you're saying elections in general.
Right.
Why did you have to point both of those out? Although there was much speculation that the abortion issue would be critical, this has largely been eclipsed by pocketbook issues,
No
which
shit.
is normal. Again, it's like, if I don't have money, how am I going to afford an abortion?
right,
So it doesn't
exactly.
even matter because I can't even afford
Yeah,
abortion
right.
right now. So, yeah, that's just how out of touch I feel the Democrats are right now. And we're going to get into their main talking points, which are solely the abortion issue right now. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But according to this poll, less people care about that as much as they said they did a month ago, and now are a little more attentive to their pocketbooks.
Reality.
It goes on, it says, as usually occurs when the economy is faltering, the incumbent president's party gets the blame. The Republicans don't really have to do too much in terms of a program other than to point to the spiraling debt, the profligacy, don't even know what that is, of the Biden administration spending and the cost of living to hammer that message home. Again, we said this, I think it was a few months ago. We were kind of hinting around about the midterm elections coming up. We had said, it's like, Republicans don't got to do a damn thing. They just got to be like, they're failing. Vote for us.
Yeah, I mean
that's all they got to do.
The party that is sitting in the minority is like the backup quarterback, right? When the team sucks, they're the greatest player there is, and everybody wants them to be put out there to play because the current party that's out there is sucking it up. So it's like, oh well, put him in. This guy sucks, and it's like, okay, well then get out there, and they don't really have to do anything.
Right. Do you want to hear Biden's response on people's concerns
Absolutely,
over the economy as he eats an ice cream cone? What is with him and ice cream cones?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I don't know.
It's kind of like this oral thing.
Does he smell his ice cream too?
You know he does.
This one's hard to hear because I think they're just recording on a cell phone, and you hear more of the ice cream shop than you do of Biden. But let's hear what he has to say. If you can't hear it, I'll break it down for you. But this is Biden on the state of the economy today.
Just one more economic question about the strength of the dollar right now.
I'm not concerned about the strength of the dollar. I'm concerned about the rest of the world. Does that make sense? Yes. Our economy is strong as hell. The internal.
Okay, if you didn't hear him, he said, I'm not concerned about the fiscal dollar. I'm concerned about the rest of the world. Our economy is strong as hell.
I'm glad he clarified that when they asked him to clarify it.
Inflation is worldwide. Worse everywhere else is in the United States. So the problem is the lack of economic growth and sound policy in other countries, not so much ours.
So, again, it's really hard to hear there.
Yeah.
I apologize for all the background noise. I didn't record this. but I had to play it. Mostly so we could see him eating his ice cream cone while he pondered. I mean, first of all, we got to point out most politicians have their thing where they kind of talk around in circles until they find the answer, so they can think while they're talking. Biden's thing is he takes a bite of his ice cream cone as he's thinking and pondering his next answer. I mean, it's genius, I guess. I mean, all you got to do is give
for a nice prop. I wonder if he's going to have him in the debates.
Give a politician an ice cream cone and he can come up with any answer.
Right.
So he said the problem is the rest of the world. The rest of the world's economy is not progressing. It's actually in reverse. It's not us, it's them. So we are hurting because of them, basically. He's throwing the blame on the rest of the world.
Right. Yeah.
Which,
how can you prove that it's not?
Well, there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that doesn't help. That answer doesn't help us.
Right.
While you're eating your ice cream. I want to hear that again.
So the problem is the lack of economic growth, sound policy in other countries, not so much ours. That's how
The lack of economic progress and growth in other countries, not so much ours. So it's not my fault. It's the rest of the world's fault. And again, that's an easy cop-out answer. Again, how do you refute that? Because the rest of the world is. I'm not saying all the economic problems are Joe Biden's fault.
No,
but I'm saying his policies have done nothing to improve the state of our economy, and for him to just completely biting a responsibility of his party or of even the United States. Like, it's not our fault at all in general. It's not the Republicans' fault. It's not the Democrats' fault. It's not our fault. It's, well, obviously the war in Russia and then the lack of progress in the rest of the world.
It's obviously the fault of Belarus.
So
and we need to nuke them.
we need to nuke Belarus because they are non-combatant
aggressive non-combatant.
Yes, there you go. Even Pete Buttigieg was praising the state of the economy because Pete Buttigieg, you know, the paternity leave taking,
running for governor of Texas, right?
Yeah, and he's the transportation guy right now.
Yeah.
Transportation secretary. He said on Sunday that basically, what did he say? He said the employment numbers in the country are strong as hell right now. Like unemployment is at an all-time low.
Yes.
I'll give that to them. It's even lower than when Trump was in office. It's at like 3.5 now, and it's at like 3.7, I think, with Donald Trump. But for Donald Trump, they said that's not that big of a thing. And the Republicans said, oh, that's fantastic. And then now the Democrats are saying 3.5 is awesome. And the Republicans are saying that's not that big of a thing. You see how it's just like a mind fuckery there?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's basically saying that the economy is strong because of this one specific number, the unemployment.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because people have to work more in order to survive right now.
Right.
Because this says Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg on Sunday defended President Joe Biden's economic policy, saying that Biden administration's top economic priority is fighting inflation amid rising costs in food, housing, and healthcare. So he acknowledges that the top priority is fighting inflation, but he praises his unemployment numbers. That's all he goes off is. Look, I don't think anybody could argue that, for example, our unemployment numbers are anything but strong as hell. Again, that doesn't make things cheaper.
Right.
Yes, that's a good part of the economy right now. But that's not the only part of the economy. We're looking at like one small portion of the overall encompassing economy.
Yeah.
It's just like the people that point to gas prices and say, well, that's a sign that the economy sucks, raising higher gas prices. Doesn't necessarily mean that. That could mean the sign that the economy's bouncing back.
Yeah.
Like after the COVID shutdowns, gas prices started going up because people started driving again, and they had kind of cut back on their gas reserves. because people weren't driving so much.
Yeah.
So people start driving again, gas prices went up. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean the economy is getting
Right.
worse. That means there's a chance that means the economy is
Yeah.
doing better because more people are getting out there
And
driving.
actually, I heard that a lot of oil companies were laying off and not doing well at all because gas prices were so low because people weren't driving.
Yeah, exactly. So rising gas prices alone don't mean your
Yeah.
economy sucks. Yeah, we mentioned that a lot today. Even we've mentioned gas prices suck right now, but that doesn't mean the economy overall sucks. Just like unemployment numbers being at an all-time low doesn't necessarily mean the economy's doing ravishing, because look at every other number. The numbers that people actually look at, even if you say the economy's doing great because of these algorithms and these spreadsheets and stuff, when people go to the stores and things are fucking expensive and it's harder to live, it might look great on paper, but to the average American, the economy doesn't seem to be doing so good.
Right.
So yeah, I guess great. Good for you on getting, they got one mark saying that unemployment's down.
Right.
But
yeah,
the rest of it doesn't show the same thing.
Right. Well, and if you remember, was it about a year ago? I mean, the complaint was that there was, a crisis in the workforce.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. And I feel like that's still going on.
I feel like too. There's still shops that are closed.
There's
down.
still restaurant dining rooms, like fast food dining rooms that are still closed because they can't find workers and shit. So
I tried to go to Raising Cane's down in Coralville today, and the dining room was closed.
God damn it.
I know. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. So if you look at other numbers, like for example, the cost of living this year is 5.9% higher than last year. That's the highest increase in the cost of living since 1983, apparently, which was 7.4% at the time. So, I mean, the cost for you to live is 5.9 times higher, not times, percent higher. Wow, that would be insane. 5.9% higher than it was last year. That is also a number that goes into the overall economic look. And that is a number that I think the average American values more than 3.5 versus 3.7% unemployment rate. Yeah, if it came down to like a 30% unemployment rate versus a 5 or 3.5, yeah, then it's like, yeah, that's a good sign that something is bad.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to like 0.2% in the unemployment rate, those numbers don't mean as much as like 5.9% higher cost of living to the average American, like me and you. Well, at least me. I don't know if you're average, but
no, I'm pretty average.
Experts believe next year in 2023, the cost of living will be up between 8 and 10%.
Oof.
So considerably higher than this year even.
So the raising of the interest rates is not really going to make a difference.
Oh, what about the Inflation Reduction Act?
Right. Yeah, right.
That's supposed to
actually reduce
doesn't do anything to reduce inflation. Some real numbers. These are the numbers the average Americans care about. If it will load. This is from CNN, so this isn't like some fascist Republican Fox. If it's going to show it when
I know
they do this,
mark goes on top.
I don't know how to get rid of it. Hang on. I'm waiting for this.
Bear with us.
As I get shit together once again.
I blame this on CNN.
Come on, CNN.
Yeah. Come on.
I clicked on you. Go away. Do something. Let me try reloading it. What the fuck? It did this to me earlier too, and then finally it just kicked in.
Went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Food prices are still soaring. I'm gonna wait for it to load, but these are real numbers that people care about.
Go scroll down to the picture. All right, keep going. There you go.
What'd you do? What did you do?
I just re-talked it.
All right. So these are real numbers that Americans care about. Food prices are still soaring. Here's what's getting more expensive. This was from last month, but it's still pretty accurate. Food prices spiked 11.4% this year. 11.4% more expensive.
That's a lot.
I mean, you hear it from your wife every damn day.
Oh, yes.
I got a text today. My wife went grocery shopping. She's like, everything's so damn expensive. I was like, I know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Egg prices soared 39.8% this year.
Yeah.
Flour, 23.3%. Milk, 17%. Bread, 16.2%. You know the main food groups that people go out and buy? Like the basics for survival. Those are up anywhere from 16 to 39%.
Yes. I would get weekly reports on egg prices.
Yeah, from your wife?
Yes.
Meat and poultry also grew costlier. Yeah, because they want us to eat the bugs.
Yeah.
I bet the price of mealworms have gone down, though.
Oh, you know that.
Chicken prices jumped 16.6%.
Yeah, chicken's a little ridiculous.
While meats, I'm guessing this is beef because it just says meats, rose 6.7 and pork 6.8. It just says meats.
Yeah, meats.
I'm guessing that's beef because those are like the three main meat groups. Fruits and vegetables together are up 9.4%. Overall grocery prices jumped 13.5%. Okay, so they must be averaging restaurant prices because they went up 8% and grocery prices up 13.5% to get the 11.4% average.
That makes sense.
But I'm more concerned about the spike in groceries over the fast food or the restaurant prices because those affect the everyday man more than the restaurant prices do.
Yeah.
13.5%. That's what we're going to go with, not their measly 11 points, whatever percent. In order to fill your grocery cart, fill your cupboards, feed your kids, you have to make 13.5% more to get the same value that you did last year.
Yes.
And that plays into that 8.5% cost of living that we were talking about.
Right.
So numbers that real people care about, not necessarily the 0.2% less unemployment rate.
Yeah. Yeah, and considering there was a time not too long ago, like within the last year or so, that you could get a carton of eggs for like 99 cents.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And the funny thing is a lot of this supposedly has to do with they talked about for a year now, it's been the transportation or the supply chains and stuff like that.
Right.
Do you know who has quite a hand in the supply chains? Our transportation secretary, Mr. Pete Buttigieg, that is a low unemployment when the supply chain is still shitty as can be. It's like, hey, you have direct effect on the supply chain, yet you're not even mentioning it in your how's the economy doing?
Right.
So why do you think he's not bringing these parts up?
Because he knows that he sucks.
But does it help for Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg or whoever to stand up in front of the American people that are like, this really sucks? Does it help for those people to stand up and be like, nah, man, this doesn't suck at all? What are you talking about? We're doing great. The economy only dipped like an inch. Yeah. And it's doing smashingly right now.
That, and again, they say, well, it's corporate greed. Right. We're doing what we can. We can't help that the corporations are greedy and raising prices.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing with the gas prices. Like Joe Biden come out and he's like, well, to fight these high gas prices, the gas companies should just lower the gas prices.
Right.
It's like, that's not how this works. Because first of all, the profit margins of the gas station industry aren't very high to begin with.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm pretty sure they are regulated because when one gas station raises their prices, if it was a free market society, common sense would say I would keep my prices lower for an hour.
You would think so.
An hour.
Yeah.
Because you get everybody flocking there. But no, when one goes up, you look across the street, the other one goes up the same exact time.
Yes, and you would think so. Because I remember this was several years ago. I was doing a system at a gas station, and I remember that it was like a family-owned place, and this kid comes running in, and he's like, Casey just raised their gas prices, and the dad's like, go raise ours. And I'm just like,
do you think that's corporate greed or what?
I think that's dumbassery.
It is, but I feel like it's got to be somewhat regulated too, to an extent.
But then you see like Hy-Vee right? A local grocery store who will do specials where they'll lower their gas prices for like 4 hours.
But again, the profit margins.
Right. Yes.
Like,
yes.
If they see Casey's went up, they're probably like, well, gas must have went up.
Right.
So we're going to fuck ourselves if we keep gas prices down.
Yeah.
And if the gas stations lose profits, they're going to have to make it up somewhere, which is going to increase the prices somewhere else. So,
and I know, like, I don't know if other people are like this. I'm not like this, but my wife will drive out of her way to go to a gas station to get gas for less.
how much does she spend to drive there, though?
I don't know.
Does it make up for the 2 cents extra a gallon?
Probably. I don't know.
I feel like the Republicans have an easy win.
I feel like so too.
Just because,
like you said, they don't have to do anything.
Well, the fact that Joe Biden is so like nonchalant about like it's not even like he's acting like he cares. Yeah. It's just like
he's eating his fucking ice cream.
Yeah.
It's probably $7 ice cream cone and being like,
no, everything's great.
We're good.
Everything's
good,
right?
No,
I mean, the economy's great, Jack.
Yeah.
Everything's fantastic.
If the Republicans end up sweeping, right? And they get it, and then all of a sudden there's a nice dip in prices. I mean, does that give them the White House?
I'd say probably.
I mean,
it depends on how much they fuck up in the next 2 years.
I was gonna say, but it's also Biden.
Yeah.
So do they really need to do anything?
Right. Do you think? I mean, the Republicans have an easy win because they just have to say, "Look, it's shitty.
Yeah.
Look how shitty it is."
Right.
Do you think they actually do anything in the next 2 years if they do sweep to bring prices down, or do you think they'll spend the next 2 years just pointing at the Democrats and be like, "They gave us a shitty hand. What are we supposed to do about it?"
I think that's exactly what will happen. Yeah. And if you really want us to fix things, you have to vote us into the White House.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Back to that vicious cycle. It's like, well, if you want us to live up to our promises, you got to vote for us.
We can only do so much.
Yeah.
Right?
You only gave us 2 years. So what do you expect us to do in 2 years?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe fix it, do something,
Yeah,
anything.
right.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yes.
Like help us do something. I don't know. How do you think the government's doing right now?
Oh, I think
before we get into a break, how do you think we're doing?
I think they're sucking pretty bad.
You don't think the economy is soaring the way they say?
I don't even think it's close to like coming out of the hole.
But is that just because we're like economically stupid and we don't see the big picture? All we are looking at is our pocketbooks, and that's very shallow viewpoint.
I mean, that's possible.
I mean, it is a shallow viewpoint.
It is.
But based on like that poll that we read, that's all people fucking care about when it comes to the economy. Who fucking cares if the economy's soaring if we are poor?
Joe Biden could go up. He can never do this, but if he could go up and like do a 2-hour lecture on why the economy is actually so much better than what it was 3 years ago.
Right.
People don't care about that.
Yeah.
They care about how much their weekly grocery bill is, their weekly heating bill, their gas prices.
People don't care about the fucking GDP if they're making less money.
Right.
Or if they're not able to get steak dinner when they want to. Or, you know, like the overall like macroeconomic GDP overall encompassing view of the economy doesn't fucking matter when and we feel it in our pocketbook.
Even if you can prove that for some reason all the shit that Europe's going through is affecting us.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Right. What are you doing to combat that?
Exactly.
Like gas prices are high? Yeah, because Saudi Arabia is jacking up gas. So what are you doing here to combat that?
Well, we're pleading with OPEC to try to lower their or raise their production
while we're closing down our own pipelines. We're closing down our own gas production
because they don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Well, it gets us towards greener economy, I guess.
And I know that's the priority.
Yes, obviously. We are due for a break. When we come back, I want to talk about what the Democrats are actually focusing on when you would think they should be focusing on the economy. Their main priority right now seems to be abortion. Do you think it's because they care about abortion or because it's the only win that they see that they have?
It's the only thing they got.
Yes. So we'll talk about that more when we get back. We're going to take 3 or 4 minutes. Don't go anywhere. While you're at it, while you're sitting there waiting and listening to the sweet, sweet tunes, invite your friends along for the ride to enjoy the second half of the show. We will be right back.
Have you ever thought that maybe voting, maybe all this politics constantly surrounding you is not the way to achieve freedom in your life? Hi, I'm Remso W. Martinez, and I ask myself the same question. That's why I'm on a journey to find true freedom in my lifetime. From learning about financial independence, to new ways to develop rugged individualism, to amazing guests living strange, crazy, amazing lifestyles that you've only thought might be real, but actually are. Go ahead and check out my new show, On the Run with Remso W. Martinez at the We Are Libertarians Network. You can find On the Run with Remso W. Martinez on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. You know how the internet works. Come on down and let's discover how to achieve real freedom in your life together.
Hey everybody, I just want to take this time to give a big shout out to the very first sponsor of the Break the Bell podcast. That is Goulash Media. They can be found at goulashmedia.net. Goulash Media specializes in graphic design, web design, audio recordings, video work, wedding videos, music videos, even political campaign videos. Goulash Media caters to the little guy with the big vision. You can check them out at goulashmedia.net. That's GOULASH media.net.
Time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. Hold the candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. Faceless in between, because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light and drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this, how you can turn your own tables and work this, and take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. Hold the candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why. But you did this to yourself. You did this to them. You don't even remember the name. Why should anybody remember you? Why should anyone give you another shot? You know you're wrong. You know you deserve to be forgotten. Now you're everything you always despise. You know you should feel the most innocent lies. You always effort to cover up what you've done. We already know. We already know. Wake up and be better before you. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. Hold the candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. Time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get matter, it's still so much better to leave the light and drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this, how you can turn your own tables and work this, and take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We have to change your mind, change over your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why. But you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. You don't even remember the name. Why should anybody remember you? Why should anyone give you another chance? You know you're wrong. You know you deserve to be forgotten. Now you're pushing always this guy. Now you should feel the old days of lies. All this effort to cover up what you've done. We already know. We already tasted. Wake up and be better before you. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We have to change your mind, change over your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between.
And we're back. As soon as I unmute the mic, I like cough directly in it. Let you know I'm here. We are back. We are talking, well, we're kind of talking midterm elections. We haven't really,
kind of, sort of.
Our midterm election talk doesn't really involve any of the politicians.
Because it doesn't really
running for
matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I was like, maybe for this midterm election episode, we should dig into like some of the politicians like running. And then I was like, it doesn't fucking
the
matter.
only thing I saw that was interesting was that apparently the person leading in the governor race in Oregon is a Republican, and the guy that's running in New York as a Republican is like right on the ass, like closed the gap considerably, and is on the ass of the guy in New York. I can't remember the last time New York has had a Republican governor.
You see? God, I can't talk without coughing. Do you see either one of those states actually flipping?
No. Oh, hell no. No.
Do you think either of them gets a Republican, or you think they just remain on the ass to?
Oregon might, just because that person like sucks so bad. But New York, as long as the city's there deciding, they'll never flip.
I don't know. Oregon was the whole Chad like lefty bullshit hippie state. So I don't see really that flipping. I think there would be riot. I think there would literally be riots if it did flip.
I had seen where people like in the outskirts of Oregon were trying to secede from the
state of Oregon.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, weren't they
and
trying
become
to
part of like Idaho or Wyoming or something like that?
Well, at one point they had talked about like certain parts of the rural Oregon and Northern California forming their own like more red state, but I don't know. I don't know what the rules are there.
I don't see it. I don't see. Maybe if a Republican president was in with a Republican Congress, they would allow it. But I just don't see that happening. It's too valuable.
What are the rules there, really, when it comes to rezoning states?
Yeah.
Because I know they talked about, like, for years, Illinois, like the rural areas of Illinois, which is most of Illinois, has talked about like splitting from like the eastern Chicago area and forming their own. And it's like, here, come join Iowa.
Yeah,
We'll make a super state out of it.
Yeah, right. Super Midwest state.
Yes.
Well, that was one of the things driving through New York I noticed is that, just 30 minutes north of the city, people had Trump signs out.
Oh yeah, that's anywhere you go. I think
Yeah.
20 minutes outside of any city
Yeah.
is going to be Trump country, which
Right.
is kind of scary in its own right. But
Right. Yeah.
I mean, what's the alternative? I guess we
Yeah.
got
But when you
Joe
consider,
Biden.
like, especially New York, where 90% of the state is rural, it's like, again, it just shows the importance of the Electoral College.
Are we all just fucking racist though? When as soon as we get out of the city, like
That's what it seems like, doesn't it?
I mean, there's got to be something more than just blatant racism that describes like once you get 20 minutes outside of country, you don't want anything to do with those bullshit policies that basically run your state because there's too many voices in the cities.
But do those policies, I mean, are they good for anybody? I mean,
it's all empty promises is all it is. It's like, well, we're the voice of the African American.
Right. Yeah.
I think we're getting I feel like I hope someday we get to the point where the African American community says you're not our voice anymore. I'm not saying they should be like Kanye and go full blown Republican.
No,
they
but they're so far in the dark ages still. Okay, here's an example. All right, Mike Tomlin, coach of the Steelers, African American, right? Coach of the Bucks, African American,
right?
They asked the coach of the Bucks how it felt to play in a game with another African American coach. It's like, okay, this isn't the 60s.
Right.
I mean, this isn't an uncommon thing.
Right.
Why does it still matter what color the coach is?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
like, who's more racist?
Yes.
The people that hire a white coach based on merit, or the people that are like, how does it feel being a black coach in this league? It's like, why didn't you just ask how it felt being a coach?
Yeah,
in this
right, right,
league?
exactly.
It's
Why does it matter what color I am?
So let's keep going. Let's talk about the hot topic issues still, because we haven't even talked about the border.
Yeah.
You know why we haven't talked about the border?
Because nobody's talking about the border.
Well, the Republicans are. The Democrats have yet to mention the border. They're like straight hardcore ignoring the border because they know that they not only have done nothing to make the border situation better, it's actually gotten much, much worse. Kind of going out of order, so I got to figure out where my article is. According to, I think this is Newsweek again. According to Newsweek, the border crossings are 3 times higher under Biden than they were under Trump.
Really, Newsweek said that.
3 times higher.
Yeah.
Now, is that just because we're more open and inclusive when it comes to the borders? And it's just like, hey, it's just borders are meaningless. We got to let them all in. Or do you think they just, to my knowledge, they just are ignoring it harder?
Yes.
Because Trump was racist because of his
he wanted to put a wall up.
Stay in Mexico, like put a wall up. Yeah. All that shit. But Biden is not so hardcore against sending them back to Mexico, you would think, right?
Right.
Well, apparently Biden is using the same laws to send them back to Mexico and Venezuela.
Interesting.
That Trump was using. Because this from MSN says Biden uses a controversial Trump policy to deal with the influx of Venezuelan migrants at the border, even as his own Justice Department fights against the policy in court. So they're fighting this policy, but he's using this policy to send Venezuelans to Mexico.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Yes. He's like, oh, this policy is bad, but while we have it in place,
we're going to
keep using it. It says, Title 42 was invoked in 2020 under Trump to send migrants back to Mexico, citing the COVID-19 pandemic. Biden's Justice Department has been fighting the policy in court. It goes on to say, let's see, President Joe Biden is relying on this controversial policy enforced by former President Trump to deport Venezuelan migrants, even as his own department fights it in court. Title 42 is a policy implemented in 2020. It allowed the U.S. to turn away migrants at the southern border as a way to curb the spread of COVID-19. This past May, a federal judge blocked Biden's administration from ending the policy. So since his administration couldn't end it, he's going to use it.
If you can't beat him, join him.
Exactly. The AP reported that despite Biden's public rebuke of the policy, he has relied on it as Republican governors bus migrants seeking asylum to Democrat-led cities. In a statement, the Department of Homeland said the Biden administration plans to deal with an influx of Venezuelan migrants at the border by allowing 24,000 of them who have sponsorships into the U.S. and sending the rest back across the border to Mexico. And Mexico's like, whoa, why? We don't want them.
Yeah.
You don't want them. We don't want them. Why are you sending them here? Because Mexico said, for every migrant you allow, we will allow back. So if they're only allowing 24,000, guess how many Mexico is going to take?
24,000.
24,000. So what happens to the rest of them?
That's a great question.
It says, under the current policy, Venezuelan migrants who walk or swim across the border will be expelled, and those who illegally enter Mexico or Panama won't be able to enter the U.S., the DHS says. Those allowed to enter would have to apply for entry while outside of the U.S. Doesn't that sound similar to racist policies, like the stay in Mexico policies that Donald Trump implemented?
Yes.
Like
very much
blatant racism?
Yes.
Does it sound like Joe Biden's doing a bang-up job at improving the immigration?
No, it sounds like he's dropping it all over the place.
It sounds like he's just like,
Yeah, he's like, whatever.
It sucked. It was his fault.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything about it. Again, you don't hear anything. I mean, the border was a pretty big deal
to
during
show you how
2020,
much he cared about it, right? Kids in cages. He ended up sending Harris there to take care of it, right?
Yeah.
And what did she do?
She did a bang-up job.
She did a bang-up job.
She did a bang-up job.
And so he's like, okay, all right, wait, okay. You can't fuck this up more, Harris.
I mean, technically, did she? I mean, 3 times higher. Is that a win for the Democrats, though, because they want more open borders? So, supposedly, according to Republicans, the Democrats want more open borders. So 3 times higher might be a win for the Democrats.
That's true. Because do you think, I mean, okay, he's got this whole, okay, you give one, we take one type thing going with Mexico. Do you think they really care who's coming over the border? No. Or do you think they're just pretending? Like, oh, wow, that's a lot of immigrants. We might have to send some back. I mean, they don't care. The only people that care are the cities that are having them bust in are like, okay, we can't handle this many people.
But those are the same voters that said Trump was racist for
and that's
kicking him out. But once they come to their city, it's like, why are you sending these people here? We meant you take care of them.
You have so much open land in Texas. It's perfect for them. We don't want them in New York.
Or can you imagine all the farm help? What did Nancy Pelosi say?
Yes. Yes.
How are all these farms gonna continue to farm without their cheap immigrant labor?
Cheap labor? Yeah, if you don't have the immigrants, right?
It sounds like some 1850s arguments about ending slavery.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna put them on the plantation, Nancy?
Yeah, she literally wants to. Keep them on the plantation. It's like, yeah, we're fine with immigrants, but as long as they stay on the plantation.
But see,
that's
and
cool.
that's the part that nobody else is paying attention to, because it's like, oh well, yeah, they're great for the economy. Yeah, they're great because they can put them into slave labor and
basically
pay them $2 an hour to do something that an American would charge $9 an hour for, right?
$15 an hour is what we're looking for.
Right, exactly.
$25 an hour, $1 million an hour.
I mean, how is that any different than Nike opening a factory in China to get kids to work a quarter? Exactly.
It's all self-serving is what it is. I mean, the Republicans say it's to influence the votes. I think it's probably a lot to do with the bottom dollar.
Yeah,
it's cheap labor. I've got a lot invested in Con Ag or whatever, and man, it's gonna really hurt my end of the year profits or my stock dividends if Con Ag has to pay $15 an hour for somebody to pick the cotton.
Yeah, exactly. And plus they want to join the union. Yeah, the immigrants, they don't want to join a union.
No, they don't care about unions. Anyway, so that's the border situation. The Republicans are pointing at it hardcore,
of course.
With shipping them to Martha's Vineyard, shipping them to New York and Chicago and shit. I mean, they're making a point to point it out.
Yeah.
But the Democrats are very, very uncomfortably silent on the border situation because they know it's a big fucking failure.
Because you're putting it in their face. Be like, well, look,
fucking mouse died. Yeah, you didn't see that on the top issues on that Biden promise tracker thing, because that was one of his big.
Yeah, all he was concerned about was kids in cages, which he still has.
So where does that line up? I think that's a big fat fucking
That's
fail.
a big fat fail.
So let's get into what the Democrats do care about or claim to care about in this year's election. Hang on. Let me get back to where I was. So this says it all. This is an op-ed. It says, it's titled, this is from the Daily Tar Heel, so I'm hoping it's from North Carolina.
I would think so.
But it's titled, "This is the most important midterm election of our generation."
Ooh.
So this gets into the meat and
Is
potatoes.
this an op-ed?
Yes,
Okay.
obviously.
Obviously.
Most important midterm of our generation. Whose generation are we talking about, first of all?
Yeah.
Boomers, millennials, the Zers.
I gotta go with Zers.
I'm saying boomers.
You think boomers?
No. All right. So this starts out. Republicans are proving yet again why this year's midterm election cycle is one of the most important of our generation. It is absolutely necessary to show up and vote on election day because obviously racism, fascism, Donald Trump, January 6th, all those things. The only point here is abortion.
Yes.
We saw the writing on the wall, the foreshadowing of a rollback in several decades of progress. Republicans holding political office play by their own rules, then break those very rules when it lines their pockets or strengthens their hold on power. I don't think you have to say Republicans here. I think you could say politicians in general, Republican or Democrat, holding political offices, play by their own rules and break them when it lines their pocketbooks or strengthens their hold on power. That's just politics in general.
Yeah.
Yes. Both sides do the exact same goddamn thing. The GOP barred former President Barack Obama's Supreme Court nominee simply because he was nominated during an election year. 4 years later, Republicans forgot their own rule and confirmed Associate Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Now, we got to also point out the fact they also confirmed Ketanji Brown Jackson. Ketanji, what's her name? The first black Supreme Court justice.
Ketanji.
Yeah, whatever.
Ketanji,
I don't know her fucking name. I should know this, but I don't.
But then they also did Kavanaugh, right? Wasn't Kavanaugh during the election year?
Yeah, I mean, but they're pointing out the flagrant biasness.
Yeah.
But they also confirmed her. I don't know. I don't know what's going on during an election year, but I guess that was because it was Democrat led. But they didn't block her.
Yes, Ketanji Brown Jackson.
That's what I said. And you said no.
No, I
Make
wasn't
me feel
sure.
stupid.
I wanted to check.
Make me feel stupid on live freaking podcasting. Anyways, they allowed her to be confirmed, so they can't really make this argument because Barack Obama was a long fucking time ago.
Yeah.
And I think the better example would be to compare it to them not blocking hers this election cycle. So, this one makes no sense. It says, if we are to codify the right to abortion and contraception and institute the same protection for other landmark decisions like Obergefell, Casey, and Griswold, they act like we know what these are.
I know, right? Remember good old Casey and Griswold?
Do you remember?
That's one of my favorites.
You remember Obergefell?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. This midterm election must be taken in stride. Conservative justices on the Supreme Court, such as Clarence Thomas, have made it abundantly clear that the word precedent means nothing to them. In efforts to justify overturning Roe v. Wade, Associate Justice Samuel Alito alluded that abortion was a matter to be decided by the states.
Wow.
Those who support this recent decision and possible overturning of these rulings argue the same. It seems easy to believe, except it isn't. So they're saying because they went out of the way to overturn Roe v. Wade, precedent means nothing to them.
Right.
So, but now if they turn around and say, using this precedent, we're gonna overturn like gay marriage, they're gonna be like, whoa, you can't do that. It's like you are arguing that precedent is what we should go by here. Now we have precedent to go by.
Yeah, right.
So they only want precedent when it's convenient for them.
Yes, and I've always thought precedent was a dumb thing.
Yeah, it's a stupid
It
reason
is.
to rule something.
It is. Well, we did it this way back 100 years ago.
Because they said
so,
it back
yeah.
then, we're going to use that.
Yeah.
So obviously.
It's a completely different case.
Yes. On September 13th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham introduced a federal bill that would ban abortions after 15 weeks. How can you justify federally banning abortion and still claim it is a states' right issue? You can't. Okay, so let's break this down. First of all, yes, I agree. If you are going to claim that abortion is state right, it goes back to the states, as the Supreme Court said, then you can't turn around and ban abortions on a federal level because you're the one that's. But on the flip side, Lindsey Graham is not the one that said that abortion was states' rights. That's the Supreme Court. Lindsey Graham is a senator. Do we need to explain the difference between the Senate and the Supreme Court?
I think people don't know.
The right-leaning Supreme Court justices, which are supposedly non-political, they're not Republican or Democrat, supposedly. Yes, the right-leaning ones did say this, but they are not the voice of Lindsey Graham. Those are two separate entities. So for Lindsey Graham to propose this bill has nothing to do with the Supreme Court decision.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court could turn around and be like, no, it's a state's issue.
Exactly. Federal has nothing to do with it now.
Because of the precedent we say.
Exactly.
So again, this article says a lot of words to make very little sense.
As they do.
Far-reaching federal bans aren't very states' rights of Republicans. Again, we're putting the two in one thing when they're not.
They're two totally different.
This was disastrous decision on Graham's part. The bill will hopelessly crash burn in the Democrat-led House of Representatives and Senate.
So why are they concerned?
Because we got to make a point here.
Okay.
And we got to do brain gymnastics in order to make this point. But at least he is able to feel like he accomplished something with this bill. Someone should give him a participation ribbon.
I'm sure somebody will.
Now, what this person doesn't point out is Chuck Schumer's bill on abortion, which was we should allow all abortions all the way up to the point that they are crowning out of the vagina.
Right.
Knowing that one would fucking fail. So he could get his participation ribbon and say, well, I tried to pass an abortion rule, but the Republicans turned it down. Even though, I think it was 80% of Americans don't agree with that. So it never would have passed to begin with. It was for him to say, I did a thing, but the Republicans turned it down.
Exactly.
So, but
At least I tried.
They don't mention that in this article.
No.
It goes on to say Graham's announcement only clarified where Republicans actually stand on this national argument. It comes while his party's momentum for the midterm election remains stagnant at best, with a recent overturning of Roe v. Wade playing a big role in that. I don't think everyone is paying attention to what their elected officials are voting for and against. Please help us clarify this for us.
Yes, please.
Let us be clear. Democrats in Congress are pushovers. They don't adequately represent the perspectives of many young voters. My faith in the president is fickle. That being said, we can look to Joe Biden's comments at the Democratic National Committee's summer meeting for guidance. Every single Republican voted against lowering prescription drug costs. Every single Republican voted against lowering health care. Every single Republican voted against tackling the climate crisis, against lower energy costs, against creating good-paying jobs. Do you think Republicans are sitting back and they're like, no, we don't want good-paying jobs because we want the people to be poor.
Yes.
We want to continue to be rich. I mean, yeah, they probably are.
Probably.
But all of them are.
Yes.
All the people up there are like, we want them to stay poor so we can stay richer. But it's not that they're voting against good-paying jobs.
Yeah.
They're voting against all this other bullshit that you throw into your
Yeah.
green agenda.
Yeah.
Voting against the Build Back Better is their idea of voting against creating good-paying jobs.
Yep,
no, it's
absolutely.
just chock full of bullshit.
right.
We've talked about it so many times, how much bullshit was in that and how much unnecessary spending. Put out a bill that just specifically creates good-paying jobs and see who votes for it without all the other pork in there.
Exactly. Impossible to do.
Says, to see where you're able to vote, go to orangecounty.gov. So this is California,
No,
obviously.
okay. Obviously.
Biden said in the DNC summer meeting, now every single American needs to return the favor and vote them out of office. So let's do exactly that. The only talking point they brought up besides don't vote Republican was abortion.
Yeah.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
The only thing on the docket for them is abortion.
Right.
well, yeah, they did vote against this and this and this, but abortion.
Which, if it's a state thing now, then California can do whatever they want.
Yeah, who fucking cares?
Right.
Go do
exactly.
it. Go abort your babies.
Exactly. Go do it now. Take them out of the high chair.
So to continue on this, on what Democrats are focusing on, apparently ad spending shows that they have spent a very disproportionately large amount of money on the abortion issue.
That doesn't surprise me.
Their whole midterm spending
Yeah.
was primarily on the abortion issue. Says Democrats are pumping an unprecedented amount of money into advertising relating to abortion rights, underscoring how central the message is to the party in the final weeks before November midterm elections. Is it underscoring how central the message is, or them realizing this is the only leg we have to stand on?
Right.
Says with the most intense period of campaigning only just beginning. When was this? It was back in September. So with the most intense period of campaigning just beginning, Democrats have already spent an estimated $124 million in television advertising referencing abortion. That's more than twice as much as their next talking point, which is character. How do you campaign on character, especially as a politician?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
good luck with that.
The only character I could see them campaigning on is, I'm not Donald Trump.
Right.
January 6th, Donald Trump, who's Marjorie Taylor Green is Donald Trump female. So that's the only character thing.
Right. Yeah.
So the fact that their top issue, their two top issues, abortion rights and character. Where is the economy in all of this?
Yeah.
Because it says 124 million on abortion, which was twice as much as character, which so they spent about 60 million on character.
Saying they're not Trump.
Yeah. So what are they spending to tell you how bang up of a job the economy's doing?
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it because
they know.
Yeah.
They know.
They know people are going to be like, that's bullshit.
So when Biden comes in with his ice cream cones, like, yeah, strong as hell. They're like, fuck.
No, he's really talking about the flavor of the ice cream.
Yeah, right.
The estimated figure based on the Associated Press analysis of data provided by the nonpartisan research firm Ad Impact revealed the extent to which Democrats are betting their majorities in Congress and key governorships on one issue. That's even as large majorities of Americans think the country is headed in the wrong direction and the economy is in poor condition. The advertising numbers also reveal just how sharply Republicans have shied away from the abortion issue in their paid advertising in weeks since Supreme Court. So the GOP is like, let's not even talk about abortion because we did our thing and we pissed off a lot of people. So let's not bring this up at all. Since you think if they were going for their voter base and their voter base was really pro-life, they'd be like, look at this thing we did. Vote for us because we'll continue to do this thing that you like. But they know that it was pretty unpopular.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that they know people don't care right now.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Says since the High Court's decision in June to eliminate the constitutional right to abortion, roughly 1 in 3 television ad dollars spent by the Democrats and their allies have focused on abortion. Much of the spending is designed to attack Republicans on the ballot this fall, who have long opposed abortion rights and are currently engaged in a state-by-state push to restrict abortion rights or outlaw the practice altogether. So you see where the majority of their money is going.
Yeah.
It's like we got, at the time, less than 60 days till election, and their whole talking point while the economy is crashing through the toilet is, well, we're not the ones that banned abortion. And they're finding that, people care, but they care more about money.
Yeah, right.
Money talks.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Even Bernie Sanders has come out and like, we got to stop focusing so much on this and on the real problems. It says Bernie has come out in an op-ed for The Guardian on Monday. This is from Newsweek again. It says, he wrote he was alarmed to hear from colleague candidates that establishment consultants and directors of well-funded super PACs are advising candidates to focus solely on the issue of abortion access in closing weeks of their campaign, an issue some see as the primary contributor to the revival of Democrats' chance to retain control of the House and Senate in polling conducted over the summer. He goes on, he says, there's no question but that Democrats must continue to focus on the right of women to control their bodies. This is a fight that most Americans want us to wage, given Republican extremist position on the issue makes them genuinely vulnerable. But he added, it would be political malpractice for Democrats to ignore the state of the economy and allow Republican lies and distortions about the economy, about inflation, and the impacts of Democrat policies on the economy.
Yeah.
So he was headed the right direction and saying, guys, it would be wrong of us to not bring up the economy and all of this. Then he adds in there, and allow Republicans to keep lying about how bad we're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe we should do more on not allowing the Republicans to lie about us.
So as always, Bernie starts, and we're like, yes. And then all of a sudden
you're doing it. You're going. Yep, there he goes. He's going in the right direction. No.
There he pulled a Bernie.
It was. Yeah, there it was. So even Bernie Sanders, while admitting we need to focus more on the economy, still is denying the fact that the Democrats have anything to do with the tanking economy. So that's what we're working with here when it comes to the midterms.
Yeah.
Like, they're not willing to focus on the economy.
No.
They want to ignore it. They want to blatantly throw out there that, oh, no, what you are feeling, that's not real. That's not a real feeling.
Right.
Like, we're doing good. You just think you're just listening to the lies of the Republicans.
Exactly. And they're the ones that support the corporations that are raising the prices on you.
So this is
they
their
want to
fault,
cut taxes on the corporations.
Right. So, yeah. Well, who's this guy? Greg Gutfeld?
Oh, he's a Fox guy.
Okay. He came out and said that because Joe Biden apparently said that the Republicans have nothing to run on. And he come out and said what we're saying. Republicans have plenty to run on.
Yeah.
They run on him.
Yeah, right.
It's like, our platform is we're not him. Basically what the Democrats did with Trump. It's like, well, we're not Joe Biden.
Yes.
We're not the ones that are tanking the economy right now. So vote for us if you don't like what's...
Except for with and that's ironic because when Biden ran, it was that I'm not Trump because Trump is killing people with COVID. And now the Republicans are like, well, we're not Biden because we're not tanking the economy.
Yeah. So it's just back and forth.
Yeah.
At least I'm not them. That's been the political platform for decades.
That's beautiful.
Now, so,
right.
Yeah. But don't worry. The Democrats have brought out their secret weapon.
Yeah.
Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Barack Obama.
The big gun.
Is the big guns. I mean, remember the 2020 election while Biden was hiding in his basement and Obama was out doing all his campaigning?
Yes.
Obama is back on the campaign trail. The interesting thing is this. Obama recently shut down cancel culture. And this from the New York Post, rips the buzzkill Democrats. I find it extremely interesting that he is coming out and speaking out against like cancel culture and wokeism and shit.
Yeah. Considering he kind of started.
Yeah. This is weird. Let's just read a little bit. It says former President Barack Obama took a shot at cancel culture and knocked buzzkill Democrats for getting caught up in policy gobbledygook. It's official.
Wow.
The Democrats are caught up in gobbledygook. And
I knew that was coming.
That is the real problem with the Democrat Party is all the gobbledygook.
Yes. Well, this guy's going for a Pulitzer.
Yes. No, this is what Obama said.
Oh, Obama said
his
that?
Direct quote.
He said gobbledygook?
He said gobbledygook.
Holy shit.
In a new interview with a podcast called Pod Save America. I can appreciate the pun, I guess.
Sure.
It says the 44th president said the Democrats have strayed away from a message of equality to scolding on social issues. Isn't that ironic that in the name of equality, we scold people on and
get away from equality?
Yeah, completely. We ostracize people for social issues.
Interesting.
He says, my family, my kids work that gives me satisfaction, having fun. Hell, not being a buzzkill, and sometimes Democrats are. I'm not sure what he's responding to here. This is like a response to a question. They didn't say what that was in response to. Anyway, He says not being a buzzkill is, and Democrats are being buzzkills. He said sometimes people just want to not feel as if they're walking on eggshells, and they want some acknowledgement that life is messy and that all of us at any given moment can say things the wrong way and make mistakes. Obama said Democrats need to be able to speak to everybody about their common interests. And what works for, I think, everyone, what works for, I can't do my Obama this late, is the idea of a basic equal treatment and fairness. That's an argument that's compatible with progress on social issues and compatible with economic interests. I think where we get in trouble sometimes is where we try to suggest that some groups are more because they historically have been victimized more. Obama is coming out against the victim mentality.
Yeah. Wow. The guy that was like, well, that's just being a typical white person.
Yeah, you didn't make that. You didn't build it. He's blasting victim culture. Why? All right, so a couple weeks ago, I think I mentioned that Hillary's ex-advisor or whatever said Hillary might be making a run and she's going to try to rein in the Democrat Party to be more moderate. What's going on here where the old guard of Democrats are trying to rein back in their party? Do you think they see the writing on the walls? They're like, this isn't going well for us. And if we continue down this path, we're going to lose everything.
But remember like when Biden was getting elected, right? Was it the DNC or whatever but they came out and they like wanted to do the Pledge of Allegiance, right? They wanted to like say a prayer.
Yeah.
Right. And Biden Biden was taking slack from the what's the group of the ladies, the core, the crew.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, the squad because he wasn't like capitulating to BLM, right?
Uh-huh.
And so but you didn't see that again until now.
Yeah.
So it's like right before the election, the last time they were trying to rein in the left, then they go all crazy, and now they're trying to rein in the left again before the election.
So do you think it's because they see the writing on the wall, or do you think it's because the old guard, i.e. like the Obamas, the Clintons and stuff, they see that they're losing control, they're losing their power, because they're never going to win amongst, well, maybe they will, but there's a push for a younger generation of politicians, and the old guard's like, oh, we don't want to give up that. So, but we can't compete in the extreme left over here. So maybe if we bring the party back more, if we claim we're the moderate ones, we can bring back in and regain some of that control. I don't know. Or do you think they just see we're fucking losing our asses?
Yeah, I think it's that. And I think you have people that, who associate the Democratic Party with Kennedy, right? Being like, okay, this is not the Democratic Party anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you got Bill Maher out there saying this every week these days,
and you had Tulsi Gabbard just recently leave the Democratic Party because she said that they were no longer fighting for people's rights. They were no longer fighting the good fight.
Do you think she's for the people, or do you think she's self-serving in her choices?
Politician.
Yeah.
She's a self-server.
I mean, she's not.
The romantic in me wants to believe she's for the people, but I know that she's a politician.
Yeah, she's gonna join forces with somebody else.
Yeah,
and
apparently she's real close with Joe Rogan and Jocko.
Okay, so who knows? Who knows what happens? I'm sure it won't bring any positivity to anything because nothing does.
Politicians don't.
They don't make changes in your life,
which is it's horrible to think that though.
But it's true though.
It is.
I mean, look at
history shows it.
Look at everything we've talked about tonight.
Yes,
like hard shift from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. What has changed for the better?
Nothing.
What changed for the better besides maybe gas prices? I guess from Donald Trump. And if you invest in the stock market was a lot better, I think, under Trump at the time. So financially, there's some things better, but as far as like policies or like social issues, nothing changed under Trump. Nothing changed for the better for your like social life under Joe Biden for the better.
Right.
So nothing a politician does really changes your life that drastically. Not for the better anyway.
Well, and not on a national level, right? I mean, like you said, locally, it might make a difference, but nationally, no, it's never going to change.
Right.
It's just going to keep shifting back and forth.
Yeah, that's all it does. It just like hard pendulum to the left, hard pendulum,
It's
to
like
the right.
say like DeSantis or Trump gets into office this next presidential election. All they're going to do is sign executive orders repealing everything Biden did, right? And then in the next come around, the Democrat gets elected in, and they're going to sign executive orders repealing everything they did.
Yeah.
And it's just back and forth.
Yeah, we talked about that with the presidential pencil, I think we called it. There is no presidential pen. Like Obama holding up his pen and be like, "This, I have the power with this pen." Blah blah blah. It's just like, but when it can be erased 4 years later,
right.
Like Trump went and erased all the executive orders that Obama made, and then on his first day, Biden erased like hundreds of executive orders that Trump made.
And it's all. It's all a band-aid. None of it actually fixes anything. I mean, the only thing that actually changed of any significance in the last 10 years maybe is the fact that Roe v. Wade went to the states.
And we pulled out of Afghanistan.
Yes. And then that was bound to happen.
That was a shit show, though.
It was a shit show, and it still is a shit show.
Yeah.
And I would still argue that we have people there.
Right. Even back to that original promise keeper thing, that promise tracker, Biden promise tracker. One was ending the forever wars, and they were like undecided. Like, we're not sure. Yeah, we pulled out of Afghanistan, but we're kind of in this Ukraine thing, and we still have troops all over the world. So we can't make a decision on this one yet. It's too soon to tell.
And it's almost like, I mean, they're never gonna change anything. I mean, they're all gonna just keep going back and forth. And that's the unfortunate part of the two-party system.
Yes. Speaking of forever wars in Ukraine, let's talk about Ukraine.
Sure.
Because this doesn't seem to really be a big issue on the midterms either.
Right.
Which
blows my mind, because like the article you have there, we keep sending them money and weapons.
We're sending just this week, another $725 million in aid to Ukraine.
And you can't tell me that does not have any effect on the inflation here.
Right? You would think.
Right.
And it just keeps isolating Russia even further. And we keep blaming Russia for the inflation and the global economic problems. And yet we keep pushing against like some sort of de-escalation here.
Right.
By sending, like, the latest I saw is, oh shit, what was it? It was something where I was just like, oh, that's not going to go over well.
Yeah.
It was just, it's like Ukrainians training on NATO soil or something like that. NATO training Ukraine, something stupid like that.
Well, I know that I saw something about U.S. sending more special operators and CIA over to Ukraine.
Oh, no, they're just admitting that they're over there. So I don't really have much to read. I'm not going to read this one. We get the point. They're sending a fuck ton of money to Ukraine.
Right.
And
billions. We've sent billions to Ukraine.
Again, this isn't an issue that the politicians at least are talking about.
Right. It's like it's not serious for them.
No.
Of course we are. We're fighting for freedom.
Let's watch this Tucker Carlson, but let's watch this video about Zelensky. This is from Zelensky. He's practically demanding more money from the United States. Hang on. I gotta rewind it. I hope I don't get kicked off for playing this Tucker Carlson clip.
Hopefully
it's only
Tucker's not a dick.
It's like a minute long. So let's listen to these demands from Zelensky.
Taking down our cowardly Congress for more cash at the very moment our own economy and our own borders are collapsing. Watch.
At this time, we have two key financial needs of the country. That's $38 billion to make up for the deficit of our budget for next year, and other $17 billion that were verified by the World Bank
no problem.
and needed to rebuild the critical infrastructure. We need also targeted credits in the amount of $2 billion to rebuild the electric energy infrastructure after the destruction and to expand our export to Europe. We need credit limits to purchase gas and coal for the future heating season. The scope of this year's support should be not less than $5 billion.
No problem.
Yeah, let me pull that out of my ass.
Some uppity foreigner in a t-shirt demanding money for his critical economic needs? We have critical economic needs too, buddy. Who are you, troll? Go away. What? Since when does that guy have a claim on our treasury?
Yeah, he gets his high pitch. He is the male right version of Rich
They
Maddow.
used to be on each other's shows all the time.
My question here is, when did the Republicans, i.e. Tucker Carlson type, become the anti-war type?
Right, yeah.
Because it used to be the other way around. Like, the Republicans were always known to be the pro-war. The Democrats or the left were like the anti-war, like, let's stay out of the foreign wars. Now it's flip-flopped. And you got Tucker Carlson saying, why would we send you why are you demanding money from us? So what change do you think? Maybe it's probably Trump's relationship with Putin, obviously.
Well, I mean, historically Democrats are known for sending us to war more than Republicans. I mean, with the exception of Bush, I mean, that's historically how it's gone. But it depends on who's in office. If Trump was in office, I'm sure Tucker Carlson would be like, yeah, we got to fight the commies.
Yeah. We send him all the money. Why wouldn't we send him all the money?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a flip-flop thing. But I feel like the left people aren't necessarily, I mean,
no,
roughly 60% of the United States still supports Ukraine in this. But when it comes to their policies, it seems like the left commoners like ourselves, not being left, but being commoners, but the left commoners aren't as happy with some of the policies as the politicians are, because here's a brief clip of AOC, like voters, people that voted her in office, screaming at her for pushing us towards nuclear war.
Congressman, none of this matters unless there's a nuclear war. But you voted to send arms and weapons to Ukraine. Tulsi Gabbard, she's left the Democratic Party because there are bunch of war hawks. Okay? You originally voted, you ran as an outsider. Yet you've been voting to start this war in Ukraine. You're voting to start thermonuclear war with Russia and China. Why are you playing with the American citizens? You're playing with our lives.
There will be no neighbors if there's a nuclear bomb. You voted to mobilize and send money to Ukrainian Nazis.
So,
what?
And these supposedly were people that voted for her to
and I
begin
believe
with.
that, actually. I believe that.
They seem a little upset about her policies.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. But I mean, not enough people are, because like I said, 60% of the people still support Ukraine in all of this.
Yeah.
But a boatload of them support, like, let's end this as quickly as possible, which is not the policies we're implementing.
Right. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, sending the money, it's money laundering.
Oh,
it's going to end up back in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just ridiculous to me. And they're not the only one, and Republicans are just as guilty with all the money we send over to Israel and to Pakistan and India and all that shit. It's like, I'm sure if we pulled all the money back and stopped giving money, we could probably take care of our deficit in record time.
So why do you think Ukraine isn't a talking point on either side, really, when it comes to the election cycle?
I think they don't know how to handle it.
Well, I think they both have their hands in this.
Oh, they do. Absolutely.
They both have their hands in their shit.
But nobody wants to admit it.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you ignore Ukraine, they look weak. Right? You're giving in to Putin. But you're giving money to Ukraine. You're kind of helping, but at the same time, you're not really warmongering, right? But people disagree, and I disagree.
You're warmongering from the sidelines,
and you're to the point where Zelensky feels entitled to a government handout.
$8 billion, $5 billion.
Well, we need $5 billion to
no
keep
less than $5 billion
to keep our operating costs this year. So
okay,
pony up.
No.
Yeah, it's like, who the fuck do you think you are, man?
Pretty much. It's like, I'm gonna have to say no, but we will. We'll give it to them.
Oh, we will, and we won't expect it back.
Well, the thing is, it'll be like Haiti, where it's just like, we'll rebuild. But we're gonna send in our people to do
Clinton Foundation over to help rebuild.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic. Human trafficking went through the roof.
Right. Yeah.
That's going to be the next. Well, isn't Ukraine supposedly like one of the human trafficking capital of the Eastern Europe already?
So yes.
I don't know. I don't know, but
Just
I
wait till
just
Bill comes over.
like there's all these things that should be key points.
Clinton,
like
not me.
Yeah. Oh. Bill- Oh. Okay. There's all these key points or these things that should be key points in election, like a war
Yeah,
that might
right.
lead to nuclear war.
Yeah.
Like the economy, like the border crisis, all the things that
Yeah.
are being
That
ignored.
actually matter. That yes, nobody's talking about.
It's like we vote for you to make to affect these things that are problems, and you're just more concerned about saving face during an election cycle. Like, for example, the gas prices. We talked briefly about Saudi Arabia. Like, we talk about, hey, gas prices are through the roof. What are you going to do? Well, we're gonna beg Saudi Arabia to keep their prices down until after the midterm elections.
Yeah.
It's all about fucking saving face. It's not about actually making change that affects us. It's just about, hey, make you feel good about yourself long enough to vote us back in, so then we can let things go back
And
to
how
shit.
do they react when Saudi Arabia says, no, I don't think we're going to do that? It'd be like, well, you know what? We're taking all our missile defense systems out of there because you don't get those anymore.
No, we don't do that.
No,
because
no,
they
but
pay for those.
But they're talking about it.
Oh yeah, they're not going to do
No,
that.
they're
That's-
not.
That's not a thing. So everything they're doing is just band-aids, like you said.
Yeah.
Just band-aids on these.
There's
Like,
no real fixes on. There hasn't been any real fixes on things in the last 80 years.
yeah, gas prices in Saudi Arabia, like we said.
Yeah.
Inflation Reduction Act. That's not even a fucking band-aid in my opinion. Like, that's just a title to say we're doing something about this while we're really doing something else and spending all your money and actually probably increasing inflation while not really lowering it at all. So again, I don't know if you could call that a band-aid. I don't see that. What about the marijuana pardons?
Oh, that's just a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, as we talked about, it's not pardoning anybody. I mean, it's not decriminalizing anything, and it's probably not going to get anybody out of jail.
If it does, it's not enough to really even like shift the scales in any way.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's even going to see the effects of it. There might be a
And there's
couple
no
people
long-term effects at all.
No, because then those people could turn around, smoke some pot, and get thrown back in jail tomorrow.
And the United States is still going to be the #1 incarceration country in the world.
Yeah. What about the $10,000 a student loan band-aid?
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids care that might get their, but what's $10,000 when you have a $100,000 loan?
Yeah. No
right?
shit. Again, not even a blip on the radar. None of it fixes anything at all, except for maybe convincing you to vote for them again.
Right.
If your main goal as a politician is to win, then what you're doing might be okay.
Yeah.
But if your main goal as a politician is to implement changes that are for the better of us, like you say that you're in, like, serve the public, then you're not doing a very fucking good job.
No.
And when every election comes down to, well, vote for us or you're voting against democracy.
Right.
Like, I got this op-ed here. I'm only going to read one or two paragraphs. It says, in 4 short weeks, the nation faces the most important midterm election of my lifetime. There it is again.
Yeah.
It's like they're on a script.
Yeah.
They're all on a script. It's like the most important of this generation, the most important of my lifetime, the most important in 80. Like, it's all scripted.
Yeah.
You know, it's a marketing campaign,
Oh,
like, put out
absolutely.
there. It's probably all just put out by.
And the next election will be the most important one of their generation.
Yes. Says,
More.
this year, the choice is between our democracy as we know it, which is messy, incremental, and often frustrating, or a hard-edged, performative populism fueled by resentment, misogyny, and racism.
Wow. And there you go. Populism is evil.
So, democracy as we know it, or misogyny and racism? You choose.
Yeah.
Those
That's
are
a
your
hell
two
of a
options.
choice, right?
Yes.
There's no in between.
To have any hope of building a better future, we must make a stand here. Again, it's like almost verbatim the last one, except this one isn't all like abortion. It probably does get into that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's like, we have to get out and vote now, or democracy's at stake.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's your
Women
choice.
will be back in the kitchens barefoot and pregnant.
Yes.
No more interracial marriages, no more gay marriages.
Obviously.
Blacks may not even be able to vote again anymore. I
Right?
mean, who knows?
I mean, yeah, right. says this is not a traditional contest between one set of politicians favoring progressive policies and another offering a more conservative vision. It is between a Democratic Party that believes voters ought to be able to make those ideological choices and a GOP that no longer believes the will of many of the American people must
But
be respected.
Isn't that what fucking populism is, though?
Yes.
Right? It is going with the will of the people. So, I mean, it's like, okay, well, they're populist, but they're ignoring the will of the people. I mean, is that even possible?
That's irony, isn't it?
It is, really. Yes.
Interesting. Well, you're populism to the other half that doesn't believe in those ideological choices. So
one half is democratic and the other half is populist.
Yeah, basically.
All right. Well, that makes sense.
That's what this is.
But this side's not misogynist and racist.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. That's what it comes down to. We're voting for democracy as we know it, or the end of the world.
Yeah, as we know it.
Yeah. So that's what this comes down to. Does any of it really fucking matter? Actually,
no. And does any of it sway you? Does it make you be like, oh shit, I really need to go out and vote for this side?
No, none of it does. Nothing makes me want to vote less than this voting cycle. It's like, well, you should get out and vote because of abortion rights. It's like, man, I don't want to get out and vote. You should get out and vote because of the economy's going through the shitter. It's like, no, they're all just wanting to spend money. Yeah. So, I mean, the Republicans did it in 2020. They spent a fuck ton on COVID-19.
Yes.
And all of Donald, like, how much did the federal debt go up under Donald Trump?
Yeah, it was
trillions.
Yeah, it was astronomical.
And then Democrats get in, and the Republicans are like, "Oh, these guys are spending a lot of money. It's causing inflation.
Pretty irresponsible."
Yeah,
right.
You know why we're called conservatives is because we conserve. It's like you forget that we were watching you 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they forget that. They forget that people actually paid attention 4 years ago.
Well, the thing is, most of them didn't.
Well, and that's the thing. People will watch their Fox or they'll watch their CNN, and they'll take whatever line of bullshit that is fed to them.
Yeah,
and they'll run with it,
and nothing will change.
No.
It's not like Fox News gets on and they're like, you should vote Republican because of. But if they're watching Fox News, they're voting Republican anyway.
Exactly. They're preaching the choir.
CNN comes on and like, you should vote Democrat because of abortion rights.
Yeah.
Those people were going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's the people that, maybe they persuade a few of the young people.
Yeah,
that want it.
Oh, the idealist, right?
Yeah.
There was a time where, right after September 11th, where I was an avid Fox watcher.
Yeah.
Right. And I would not miss an episode of Bill O'Reilly.
Sure.
But
Sean Hannity, I listen to that every night on the way to work. Yeah. Nope, I was there.
Yeah. So those people they're going to see that and be like, well, I can't imagine anybody ever voting Democrat.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Why would you ever do that? Or on the other side, it's like, what the fuck would you vote for these racists?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's all about emotionally charging the young people.
Yes.
Or the old people. I think the Republicans emotionally charge the old people.
Yeah.
And the Democrats emotionally charge the young people. And they hope they can pull in a few grannies over here that don't want the gays in office. And then the Democrats over here are like, well, do you want people telling you which bathroom you have to use?
Right.
If not, then you better go vote. I mean, it's all identity politics on both sides. You can't say it's just the woke left that's an identity politics.
And
it's
there's
on both sides.
And there's not one person who's being like, okay, this is what the economy looks like. This is the gas. Now, if we open these reserves here and we do this, we audit the Fed.
Maybe we stop spending a bunch of money in Ukraine.
Right. We pull back all the money we're sending internationally. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody's doing that.
No,
nobody's
that
like,
makes too much sense.
Nobody's like, Bernie, you got some good ideas over there. Ron DeSantis, you got some good ideas.
Yeah, why don't you guys get together and talk?
Like you got some fiscally good ideas. You got some good maybe like social ideas. Maybe we can work some. No, there's none of that. If you had a politician that came in and it's like, you got good ideas. You got good ideas. How can we make this work?
Yeah,
it's never gonna work.
Yeah, I used to like watching The West Wing on NBC, and it's very Democrat administration, right? But it's very idealistic, right? And I told Jen, I was like, if Democrats are like that, I would actually vote for Democrats.
Right, exactly.
And in the final season, there's a new guy who's elected president, Democrat, of course. and he does something controversial. He brings in a Republican vice president.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would
because
never
yeah.
happen.
Oh, I know, but I'm like, if somebody did that, that would be fucking amazing.
Do you know what they should do? And it's just like this in like basically Britain is kind of like this, but in their setup. But the second place person should automatically get vice president.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then you have a balanced system there. You got the president of one party and his right-hand man is the other party. And the president has the final say or whatever when it comes to the executive branch, but he has this nagging freaking other party like nagging him on it. It'd be like having a freaking annoying wife all the time, like nagging you. It's like, no, you don't want to do that. Are you sure you want to do it? Why are you doing it that way? Just I feel like maybe we would find more middle ground if that's how the party work, how the presidential system works.
And you know, I think it used to be like that.
Really?
Yeah,
That should be.
because I think like up until GW, and that's when I really think that things just divided up.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're about out of time. There is some hope in the world, boys. This Newsweek article here, this is the final thing I want to point out, says that the midterms might finally shatter America's two-party system. Here's why. I'm not going to get too deep, but apparently there's not so two-party people that are making strides in the election cycle this year. Says Republicans are both hoping to gain control of the Senate and blah, blah, blah. All this stuff we've already talked about. However, there are signs that America's traditional party system, dominated almost completely by Republicans and Democrats, could break. The proportion of votes identifying as independent has increased dramatically over the past couple of decades. How many people do you think identify as independent?
2%. Oh, like vote-wise, or who's
identify?
Oh, identify like
voters who identify as independent. What percentage of America?
I would say maybe 15%.
Apparently, it's 43%.
Oh.
43% of people claim to be independent.
Okay.
This is ahead of Republicans at 30% and Democrats at 24%.
That's pretty.
Yeah, if all those get together and stopped with this bullshit of, well, if we don't vote for this person and this person's going to win,
a vote.
yeah, if we pass that wasting a vote mentality,
Yeah.
then maybe we could make some real strides here.
Right.
Says this is significant increase since 2004, which saw only 27% voters identify as.
I believe that was 27%.
That seems high to me.
Yeah.
Says in 2020, major report by Open Primaries Education Fund predicted the proportion of voters registered as independent will increase further by 2035. That's a long ways away.
That is a long ways away.
So slow, steady stress.
I guess.
About how says a recent Arizona public opinion pulse poll carried out by Ohio Predictive found 15% of Arizonans are voting for libertarian candidate Mark Victor, or it's OH, not Ohio.
No,
because it's in Arizona.
Oh,
but it says Nevada's libertarian. So why are they pulling Arizona?
Yeah, that doesn't.
I don't understand. Found 15% of Arizonans are Victor, who is running for Senate in Nevada. How is going on here? I don't know. 15% of people in the state are voting for this libertarian.
Yes.
Versus 43% for Democrat incumbent Mark Kelly and 33% Republican challenger Blake Masters. So I don't know what state it's in.
Yeah,
but
and I'm sorry, 15% doesn't really matter.
No, but 15% is double digits, which is very rare for
okay. But does that get them on the debate stage?
Is there a debate stage when it comes to race though? So I
guess not.
Says,
there should be.
Victor said polls show a fall in support by the two main parties bear out what he's seeing on the ground. He commented, people are starting to realize the two major parties aren't really that different. Neither is based on principle. They are like little kids fighting in a box to get control.
Yeah,
I mean, that's brilliant right
Yeah,
there.
it
You have
is.
my vote. If Arizonans can vote for you in Nevada, I can vote for you too.
Absolutely.
Anyone following politics for any length of time can see this same failed approach is tearing our country apart. That says all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, take it for what it is, I guess. If Newsweek is coming out saying, hey, the two-party system isn't doing so good, I mean, we'll take the win, I guess.
Yeah, and I know we're preaching to the choir here on this podcast.
Obviously.
But it's like, if you don't believe in somebody, don't vote for them. Don't vote for their party if they're not representing you, and don't be like, oh well, they're not them. That's not a way to. That's not a reason to vote for anybody.
If there's not somebody that I hardcore support, I'm not going to waste the time to go vote anymore.
Yeah,
I've just made that decision. It's just like, if there's nobody that I'm just like, this guy stands for everything I stand for, it's not worth me leaving this house to drive to. I mean, the voter place is 3 blocks away, and that is way too much gas.
Yeah,
of the expensive gas for me to drive over there to vote.
Yeah.
So not going to do it.
But
if somebody,
again, locally, I think that's where you can affect change.
Right.
But yes, on a national level, yeah.
But if there's some senator out there that's like, look, we're going to end the Fed, we're going to end taxes.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I don't care if he's not going to get a % vote. I'm going to go vote for him just because I fucking can.
Yeah, the whole, and again, I know I'm preaching the choir, but the whole wasting a vote argument is a stupid argument when you get 1 million people saying that.
I mean, I bought into it. I voted for Trump the first time because of that. I didn't want Hillary Clinton to win.
Right.
And I was leaning more towards what I wasn't quite where I am now, but I was leaning there. But I solely voted for Trump. Because I wanted to see how this played out. I mean,
like, this is gonna be good.
Grab the bag of popcorn and see how this plays out. B, I didn't want Hillary Clinton to win.
Yeah.
So I'm guilty, just as guilty of don't waste the vote mentality. But now I'm to the point where it's like, don't waste my fucking time mentality.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
More so than don't waste the vote.
Yeah.
Don't waste my time with the same thing, the same shit, different day, different politician.
Yeah.
That is way over the time we have for this show.
Yeah,
what do y'all
didn't
think?
Expect that, did you?
Yeah. What do y'all think about the midterms? What's going on in the world or in our country? I find it odd that there's not a lot of people really talking about the midterms.
Right. Yeah.
Even though it is the most important vote of our
this
lifetime.
generation. Yes, I know. I'm surprised because I really thought that they would be pumping it up big time.
Well, I think they're just maybe they think if they ignore this, like the economy, it will just work itself out
on both sides.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, the Republicans are doing a good job of saying that the Democrats are doing bad, but the Democrats are just like, things are great.
Yeah.
It's good.
Let's kick that 64-yard field goal. We got this.
Yeah. Let's kneel. Let's just kneel it. We got this. We're good. Yeah. It's like, but you're like 12 points behind. Yeah, we got it. We're just gonna kneel it.
We got Biden
right
back
here.
There.
Yeah, exactly. he'll make the right choice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we got Obama campaigning for us.
Yes, which again is their only Hail Mary.
Buzzkill. Wait, what? What did he say? That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Did he just blast wokeism? We didn't want that.
Yeah.
That's all I got for this. Make sure you check us out all over the social medias. Share it far, far and wide across the interwebs, the webospheres, the webiverse, all those things. The social medias. You can find us at Break the Bell Pod. That's our handle on all the major platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Otherwise, like I said, check out our merch store at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. If you want to be a Patreon member and get access to bonus content, which I haven't released in a while, I need to do that. Go to patreon.com/breakthebell and you can become a member, have access to different merch options, as well as some bonus content. Otherwise, join us this weekend for the weekend wrap up, which is inevitably where we wrap up your week in the news. Otherwise, the Two Scoops morning show is on every Tuesday and Thursday, as long as we feel like doing it that week. That's me and my brother Dan Smotz at the System is Down podcast. That's 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's a little 20-minute segment of news where we just bullshit, kind of like we do here, but shorter. Otherwise, be back here next Monday, same time, same channel, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for another awesome show. Have a great rest of your week.
Peace.
We'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back, because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.